What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. We hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sport. I'm your boy, Domma, and I'm with the great man himself, Saucy. What is happening, buddy?
What is going on, Domma? As usual,
Big.
the sport
It just
doesn't
gets
stop.
bigger.
It just keeps getting bigger as the seasons of different sports roll into one another. We've got we're still going on with the NBA playoffs. You've got the AFL is coming towards its end, and the final series, they're going to be finalising the top 4 spots and then top 8. You've got the NFL season starting this week, the Premier League, the EPL, La Liga, Spanish League starting also this week. The froth doesn't stop.
We've got a pretty big show, as you know. We've got our first take, which we will go into the NBA playoffs, cover a bit of that, then the sport news around the globe, and then in there, got a bit of NFL news this week, and we're going to do our divisional tips, our conference tips, and then we've got a Super Bowl tip each, and we've got some odds in there, and Saucy will also go through a bit of NFL betting when we get to there and give a few tips and tricks. So I think we'll kick it off, mate. Straight into the playoffs. My oh my, has it been very interesting. We'll start with the West. Denver versus the Clips. Wow, Denver got rattled first game. Obviously, a one-day break coming into the first game. They got spanked. They weren't up for it.
Yeah, they looked off. They looked off, but they redeemed themselves in the second game. They showed up. We know the series now sits at 2-1. And they got beaten in the third game. But, I put in my bracket this game potentially going to 7, and I think that could still be the case. Denver definitely has enough to challenge the Clippers within games. But I still sit with the Clippers taking out the series. I just think they'll, over 7 games, they'll be able to put up enough defensive stops, which is, what they pride themselves on going down the stretch, and they'll get the job done. But, man, look, I'll give it to Playoff P. I won't call him Potato today. I would call him his actual name, Playoff P, because he stood up in the last game and he's been a lot better in this series. So, which he needs to be if the Clippers are going to have any chance of winning the championship. And I don't care, he has to be better. So, credit to him. You've got to give credit where credit is due, Dom. And I called him out in the last series, and the way he was playing was not good enough, especially if Clippers want to contend. And
we always say, mate, we put our hot takes out in our projections, and we are the first ones to admit we're wrong if someone proves us wrong. But really, like we said, for them to have a chance, he's got to step up, and he has stepped up. That was a criticism. He has to step up, and he did it. So, but that game too, Kawhi had his first stinker of the playoffs, and
you can see when he's off, it really obviously that was a big reason why Denver were able to get the W there. So it's
good series.
Intriguing. It's intriguing. I like it. I'm loving Murray and Jokic's fight. There's a bit of clapping going on and jawing between obviously the main man who likes to talk a lot of smack on that Clippers team, little man Pat Beverly, and Pat. I read something today. Someone read a comment. He goes,
"He talks so much.
Why does the media even interview Pat Beverly? Why does he even get interviews? He's not even good enough to get interviews. He shouldn't be getting interviews." I'm like, it's a fair point.
He made that comment that Jokic flails too much. He goes, Luka and Jokic have the same thing in common. They flail a lot under the basket looking for fouls, and then they asked Jokic that question, and Jokic said, "Flailing? What's that?" And the reporter responded with, "It's when you play for fouls." He goes, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Is that why they got 16 more free throws than us tonight? 26-10." That's what Jokic said. Pat Bev doesn't even know what's going on. He's just talking shit. Pat Bev, I'm with you. Why the hell are they interviewing? Well, they do it for a reason. So
they do it for a reason because they get
the quote. They get the quote, mate. They get the quote. So that'll be a good series. You had them in 7 Clippers. I've got them in 6, but my bracket's done anyway.
I'm done. I'm done as well, ladies and gents. I'm not getting that 1 million from.
Yeah. So I was done for
that
the
1 million bracket,
which we'll go into that series now. Lakers took a 2-1 lead over Houston today. You're up and
my
about.
boys, mucking about.
I'm not gonna. I don't know. I'm just not confident on the Lakers, man. They're probably good enough to win this series. A dream for me is, like I said a couple of weeks, like now, especially now the Heat beat the Bucks. I'd love to have Heat versus Lakers in the finals. That'd be good. The two of us, the 2 teams we're going for. But I just can't see them, if they win this series and they play the Clippers, having any chance. Like, they're struggling against Houston. I'm baffled. I just don't understand. I don't understand why Anthony Davis, every time he gets the ball, like today he was all right. So he was like doing his jab step and he was just going straight to the, like, attacking aggressively. But why is every game before today, he just backs down guys?
Yeah.
Like,
so one thing
he
I
backs down and
noticed,
settles for that fade. He's like Joel Embiid. He's doing that stupid crap.
So one thing I noticed today was he was facing up the defender a lot more, getting into that triple threat position, and he was making his moves quick. He got caught a few times holding the ball a bit too long on the double team when they come over and double team him on the post. But today he was able to just turn and attack straight away. And that's what he needs to do. And it's what I've been calling for. I've been saying, we need to get the ball in the paint and force the issue. And
100%.
I mentioned to you, I think I sent you a message at halftime. I'm like, although we've played well and it's equal like this, our defense needs to step up. And we need to, the fact that they've outscored us points in the paint at halftime, I think they were up 4 points in the paint, is a joke. It's just beyond a joke, right? For us to have any chance, that's one thing that we have to be doing better and winning. And in the second half, we changed those things around and we were able to dominate in that last quarter. Like, we dominated defensively.
Honestly, I think these first 3 games, you've been able to take bits and pieces of what your strengths are against Houston, because they are very fast paced.
Yeah.
Like LeBron said, they're like the greatest show on turf, like the NFL team. I think it was, the Chargers or the Rams back in the day. Like, they're so quick. They're just run and gun. And if you can stop that, they're very limited. They're very, very limited. They're extremely limited anyway, like with their size. And their D, they just capitulate under pressure when there's so much D getting played on. Like, double teams are coming at them and they just rely on Harden to do a lot. But like you said, just go one-on-one with Harden. Like, the formula has been there. It's tried and tested with Dort in the previous series. Let him take the step back. If he hits the step back 3, a contested 3, while he hits it.
Yeah.
But the odds of him hitting it consistently, a contested 3 to an open 3, it's pretty difficult if you've got a guy in your face. So, I don't know. I reckon you're good enough to win this. I just think you're going to have too many issues in the next series against the Clippers. Like, their bench, you mentioned it to me today, they can go 40 points deep on their bench. Like,
really, I think that will be the issue.
That's the win. Honestly, that's what'll win them the series. I reckon starting 5-wise, you can beat them. You can outplay them. You can shut down Paul George, and you're not going to shut down Kawhi Leonard, but he can be more limited in a capacity compared to average.
It's when we start getting those rotation guys, and to be honest, I just think the rotation guys for the Clippers are more consistent than the Lakers, and that's why I can see how they'll get us on that point. Just because even though Danny Green has improved from the last series, still the way he's sort of shooting the ball is not giving me confidence that he's going to get out of his bit of slump that he's sort of in. One thing I really, 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 really do like at the moment is Kuzma is not settling for 3-point shots. Too many. Like,
he's being aggressive. He's being good.
He's being aggressive. He's attacking the rim. He's diving, cutting to the hoop. And with the likes of Rondo and LeBron, who are two of the best great passers to ever play the game, they're finding him. And we're playing to our strengths. And that's what's going to get us past this series. and as I said, Dom, I think just our ability to lock them down on the defensive end, get out, push the ball. We get down the court. We're able to get their defense unsettled. We get the mismatches that we want. You know, we have multiple times today. You have LeBron on Eric Gordon down low. You had LeBron pushing down the floor and posting hard and right under the basket. Same with AD. And when we were able to do that, even Kuzma did it a few times. You know, able to get down there and use his size against the likes of Gordon and Russell Westbrook as well.
Yeah.
So that's where our game is built, and we can, you know, hit threes at times, but we're not a 3-point shooting side that's going to.
Yeah, I know. You're literally your defense is what keeps you in the game, and the other thing that keeps you in the game, like if you didn't watch it, just you got to go back and admire the greatness of LeBron James.
It kept us in the game in the first half.
That game was finished at halftime if he didn't have 29. Like, before you were able to switch it on and work it out and do what you had to do with your adjustments, like, if he didn't go off for 29 at the half, you'd probably get killed in that game.
Yeah.
And there's no coming back.
Yeah, he kept us in it in the first half. And that's
his greatness is unbelievable. You just, like we keep saying every week, just appreciate what you got while he's still there playing. Hopefully he plays for another 4 years, 5 years, mate.
There's one person that I hope watched that game. There's one person. And that's the man that we're going to talk about him in a little bit. Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo should be watching that game and seeing how LeBron is able to hit the three, hit the mid-range, and get to the rack and push down the floor and post up guys. That's what you need to become a complete player. And defenses won't be able to stop you. I mean,
speaking about defense, my God, he's just. What is LeBron? He's just.
He got 4 blocks today. Thank you very much. LeBron was doing it everything.
No. That's what I'm saying. He's just blocking everything. You know, honestly, watching the first 3 games, you know what LeBron's doing? I know he's good friends with Russell Westbrook, but what he literally does, the first couple games, he comes and plays help defense. As soon as he sees Westbrook blow by a guy, that's when he goes, I'll play help defense now, because he's about to go for the layup, and he just comes and just blocks him into the backboard every single time. He just loves it. He just loves blocking Westbrook. Well, I would too. If I was LeBron and I could block him, I would too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, look, Westbrook, you just keep doing you, mate, because that's helping us win games.
Exactly. Moving on to the East, Toronto, Boston, 2-0. Boston was up. This should have been a sweep. If it wasn't for a brain fart from Jaylen Brown in Game 3 and your boy OG Anunoby hits that 3 with 0.5 of a second left, wins in the game. They get a second win. I watched
that game live, Dom, and I was going bananas.
Same here. I was like, what is going on?
I was going bananas.
Well, you and I couldn't believe the fact that we were watching it and going, why the hell is he open? Like, why is OG open? The whole time, we're like, why is he open?
Look.
That was just a step up. It was Jaylen Brown.
At the end of the day, he still has to make the shot. He still has to make. He's got 0.5. He wasn't even a proper release. He didn't even follow through on the release. Like, that's how quick he got that thing off. And you know what was even better? The cold walk. The cold walk. He just walked off with no emotion.
He just walked off the court. It was pretty funny. It was very funny.
That was the best celebration I've ever seen, man.
I thought that
was the best.
I thought they were going to lob it into Taco Tuesday there, Taco forward. He was going to just dunk it. He was just going to put his hands up and tap it in. Oh. No, but they've got it now, honestly. They should win it from here in tomorrow's game. Just finish the series. We didn't really write off Boston because what we said is not exactly incorrect. Their bench is no good. The depth on there is not very good. Obviously, because Hayward's out, so Smart is now in the starting lineup. But guys that we knocked and we said they had to step up, Kemba Walker was one of those guys, and Jaylen Brown, and they're being really good. They're being solid. Literally, what are they? Boston are what, 3-1 up? Yeah, 3-1 up.
No. It's
3-2.
3-2. They got it back to 2-2 Toronto.
That's
That
right.
OG shot brought them
Oh,
back
yeah.
from the brink of elimination, essentially. If he doesn't make that shot, they're down 3-0. We're calling this Boston, whether they win it in 6 or whatever. Boston's getting out of this. Brought them back. So it's 3-2 Domma. So I wouldn't call it this early, but the way and the manner that they came out in the last game and got dominated, it's not giving me confidence that maybe they win this next game, but they might not have the consistency to go through and get the 7th game. But yet again, you don't want it to go to 7 games because anything can happen in game 7. So,
well, honestly, as a Heat fan, we're about to move into that series, but as a Heat fan, I'd love Toronto to win because we'd slap them in the Eastern Conference Finals. So for me, I'll be happy with that. Like they're actually terrible. The defense that Boston plays, I'm pretty sure. I'm just going back to have a look, but I think they've only scored over 100 points once in this series. Toronto, once in the whole series. Oh no, twice in the 2 games that they won. They scored over 100 points. They scored 103 and then 100 on the dot. Every other game they're being held to under 100 points and they've lost. Yeah. So, yeah, I reckon that
they
series
struggle to
done.
score.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it, really. I'm a happy man. First time I've been to the Eastern Conference Finals, the Heat, since 2014 with LeBron. I'm happy. You're happy. Giannis is happy. He's staying, apparently, according to reports. He can get his super duper max if he wants to by staying. That's fine. But I'll tell you what, he's still going to be no good next year. With KD and Kyrie playing for Brooklyn, potentially Philly getting proper pieces into their franchise now, like proper shooters, they're going to struggle. Like they'll struggle next year again. I don't know. I reckon Giannis had to leave. People say he shouldn't leave. Well, you know what? If he wants rings, he probably should have left that team. Unless your boy, everybody hates Chris Middleton, plays how he's played in the last 2 games and just put on a clinic. Really. When it's too late.
And I said to you, Dom, I sent you a message. I'm like, why did it take the Bucks to go down 3-0 for Chris Middleton to play the way he did? Like, why weren't you playing with that urgency and playing like that from game 1? Potentially play 100%. Like that from game 1. You pinch one of those first 3 games. Maybe you're down 2-1. You win that 4th game. You're 2-2. All right, you lose today. It's 3-2. But maybe Giannis is good enough to come back next game.
Yeah, exactly right.
And they're within a chance to win the series still. But, playing like an absolute spud from game 1 to game 3.
They're still hung up on bloody game 2 with that call on Giannis where they lost with the free throws at the end, saying that they got robbed by officiating. And as we said, you can't use that as an excuse because Miami technically got robbed by officiating to get it tied going into the bloody last 5 seconds. So I don't know what people are crapping on about. Yeah. Like, get over it. You weren't good enough. You were the best seed and you weren't good enough. You lost. You choked. You were the best team and you should have won. You choked. As simple as that.
And I'll bring it back down to this.
Your MVP didn't show up. So...
What do you call him, Dom? What have you been calling him on the socials?
Yeah, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Because you didn't show up. And all right, people are going to go have a look at your stats. And, yeah, he had some good stats in some of the games, right? That's fine. But please go watch the clutch minutes. Go watch it. When in those games, in the last 5 minutes, I'm going, all right, where's Giannis? Where's the MVP? Where's the MVP? Where's he coming from? Well, is he going to show me he's the MVP this game or what? And he didn't show us nothing. He didn't show us nothing. And once again, I keep saying this, and I've been saying it to people, and people been agreeing with me. He's a to the bucket or bust guy. Until he gets a mid-range shot, or as I tried to say to him before, he should have been watching today's game and watched LeBron put on an absolute clinic where he, backed up guys. He was able to shoot fadeaway jumpers, turn around, shoot jump shots over guys.
Shoot the 3. He was able to
shoot the 3. He was just doing everything. I'm not saying that you're going to be to that extent where you're KD, but I'm saying he should have been going and watching KD's game and seeing how he uses his length to pull up and just shoot over the top of smaller guys, especially
it's just it's just another addition to your game like you said last week, you're going to get the defenders always thinking, what's he going to do next? If he gets a mid-range, then he can go under the basket mid-range, and then he can potentially shoot the three as well. Defenders, it's a nightmare. They're like, is he going to hesitate, go to the bucket, or is he going to pull up for a mid-range? Is he going to step back for three? It makes it so much more difficult.
The difference is, right, his three-point shots, I think he's at 33% or 34% on the year, which is, I think, his best he's ever shot it in his career.
Yeah.
Right? So his three-point shot has improved. And that's probably a serviceable percentage, right?
Yeah.
But your mid-range, you can make that mid-range shot a 50 to 55% shot. And if you can shoot it at that clip, then it just adds another string to your bow where the defenders don't know what you're going to do. You can get to the rim at will, essentially, if you can shoot that mid-range. Because obviously your three-pointer, they want you to shoot that. They're daring you to shoot it because you only shoot it at 33%. 100%. But if you can then go step in another meter and a half, 2 meters into the inside the key there, and shoot it at from 14 to 16 feet, and make that at 50 to 55%, the teams aren't going to back off you and start building that wall like what they do currently. They're going to think. Exactly, they're going to think twice, especially with the shooters that they've put around him in Milwaukee. They've got good 3-point shooters. They're a decent 3-point shooting side. They probably could add a few more guys. I think they'll try to add some pieces in the offseason if Giannis is staying. I think they will. And they'll be up there again, but I just want to see Giannis add some mid-range game where he gets the ball on the block and he turns around, either drives to the basket. But like what they do, even when he does get on the block, they block that lane and they don't let him drive to the basket. So if he did have the mid-range, imagine he could pull up from the corner there and just rise up and drop a shot. They'll be like, oh my God, what do I do now? What can I do? If he's just going to turn around, jab step me and shoot over the top on the smaller guy, and he's going to consistently make that,
fouls.
Then
he's going to get,
when they turn around and he goes to jab step, does a head fake, now you've got the head fake you can use from that range and get up in the air and drive by him.
Exactly. People will bite on it.
People will buy on it because he can make it.
You can go to the bucket and it'll just be easier layups. It'd just be layup drills for him. Yeah, but he needs to improve his game. And if he adds that, then he will be in a position to win a title. If he doesn't, he's not winning a title. As simple as that. Because the West is too good.
Yeah.
The East is going to be even better again next year. And it's literally a wait and see. I'm just going to end it on this. Just props to Wesley Matthews. He's had a few injuries. He's bounced around to a few teams. He shut down my boy Buckets. I know Buckets really got to the hoop and hit clutch free throws at the end. I think he scored 7 points in the last quarter in clutch time. But where's Matthews? Your D was absolutely unbelievable today. His defense was just, out of this world. The commentators kept saying, mate, they need 4 bags of ice, mate, for his ice bath.
The old boy hasn't played that much defense in a while.
Yeah. So, good props to him. Anyway, that's the review. We'll see what happens, mate. Heat will play looking like the Celtics, and then, we'll see what happens in those other two, and we'll just cover it next week as it comes, mate. Coming up next, sport news around the globe, so stay tuned. All men have 2 versions of themselves, the one that you are now and the inspired version of yourself that is hiding deep down inside. My mission for the podcast is help men break through their limitations and become their most inspired version. The Inspired Man, a podcast from Andrew Soteropoulos. All right, we're back. Here we go. Bit of AFL. This is what we love. The Aussie code. We'll fly through some of the fixtures and then we'll go through some of the games. But we covered a couple in the podcast last week because they were happening. But these are based on our tips. Richmond, this is round 15. Sorry. Richmond defeated Freo. Sydney beat the Demons. GWS beat the Blues. Brisbane kicked 6-6. So they actually kicked all right. Beat the Pies. And that was round 15. Round 16, which is currently on, but these are the games that are played. North and Port. Port won that by 46. St Kilda defeated Hawthorn. Cats beat the Rabble in Essendon. I know you're going to go off on that. Western Bulldogs won by like a couple of centimetres of a kick on the goal line over the West Coast Eagles. Melbourne are a shambles at the moment. They lost to Freo. Carlton beat the Swans yesterday in a great win. Come back from 39 points. And our boys that we wrote off completely, the Crows, beat the Giants. So... Anyway,
does it tell you more about the Crows or more about the Giants? That's my question.
I reckon it tells you more about the Giants. It really does. That's a disgrace. Just a quiet one. I've actually I've tipped Adelaide this week.
I haven't even done my tips.
I'll read them out to you. But a couple games. What did you watch, mate? I know you definitely watched one game.
I'll tell you one game I 100% did not watch, and that was the Geelong versus Essendon, because I just knew that we are nowhere in the class of Geelong, and we were going to get absolutely smacked. I'm not even going to rewatch the game, because obviously we just were insipid the whole first half, considering we got outscored ridiculously in the first half. We were down by like 60 at halftime or something like that.
Yeah. A couple of things I want to ask you as a Don supporter. I know you lost it last week and you went off, and for all the right reasons, because they did exactly what you said they should have done, and everything they were doing wrong, they did it again. Everything that you analysed of them, they literally made fools of themselves. But what was your thoughts on a team getting slapped? I think you know where I'm going with this, and having a laugh in the huddle when you're getting absolutely bullied around the ground. How does that make you feel as a supporter? Like, you got this team, while the team that you love, having a laugh and a chuckle while they're getting smashed. And people, like, as you know, supporters pay their membership to their club and to support the team, and they want them to do well, not get slapped and have a laugh in a huddle.
Yeah, as an Essendon supporter, it's gotten to the point where you don't have hope. The hope is gone, because they've never shown that they're going to take that next step. You know, where's our year? Where's our Brisbane year? You know, Brisbane were down in the dumps. They turned it around in one off-season, 1 year, came out and showed so much promise. Finished top 4. Where's our year like that? We haven't shown that promise at all in the last 4 seasons. I don't see it. And I don't. And I'll put it out there, Essendon fans. I would not be expecting to win or even contest for a premiership anytime soon. You know, I'm saying that these players are going to come and go before it's going to be the next generation of players. You've got some guys who are on the way out at the moment, to the back end of their careers, who are some of our best players. I can't see it happening, Dom. And as I've said, part of this goes on the players and part of this goes on the coaching, because consistently we're playing a game style, the same game style that we've been playing for the last 2-3 years, that doesn't get you the amount of wins and the wins that you need to contest. So what are we doing? Like, I've said this, in an era where it's all played with forward pressure and getting repeat entries, and it's proven that gets you wins. We've got the worst forward pressure in the whole competition. We're the worst team at conceding goals from transition, from our attack to our defense.
At the moment, you're just witches' hats. You're witches' hats.
We are terrible. We just lack things around the ground. We just lack pieces, and we lack a game plan. And I'm just frustrated with some of the coaching decisions that have gone on. It's super frustrating, man. We went out there, we got players, we went and got Dylan Shield, we went and got, Devin Smith, and upgraded some of our players. And, as fans, you're like, yeah, all right, they're doing good things, the club. But then when it comes to those players going out on the field and implementing a game-winning style that's going to get us victories consistently and put us in a position to play finals and win finals and whatever, I just don't see it being there. Like, and I was very critical of John Worsfold I actually don't like his coaching style. I really don't like how he's all about focus on what we're doing. Focus on what we're doing. Well, you know, you got
What you're doing is,
smashed. You got smashed by 60 points in the first quarter. So whatever you were focusing on, well, maybe you should be focusing on what the opposition was doing because they were just running around you like you weren't there, right? Like it's disastrous, man. Like, look,
it is.
Let's see what they do in the off season. I'll be disappointed if they don't move on some of the players. Some players who are consistently injury prone. Some players that have been there. I'm not going to name names. You know, it's up to them to do. Maybe we get to that point. We can talk about this later down the track. But I just expect them to make some changes on some of the players that we've got running through our side. They're just not up to the standard that's going to get you to win games. Like, they're just lacking too many guys who are injury prone. It's disappointing to see that they're smiling and smirking, but at this point, I'm not surprised. Like, I don't look too much into it, as you know. There's people that make them blow it up. I'm not going to blow it up. Like, our season's done.
Fair enough.
Regardless,
fair enough.
if we made the 8 and even got to 8, let's be honest. What the hell were we going to do?
Yeah.
This is what the point is, right? Even if we were somehow magical way got to 8, there was no chance in hell that we're going to win the flag. So if you're not going to win the flag, well, you've failed. Your season's failed, right? There's only one winner at the end of the season, and that's the team that wins the flag, and that's the team that's successful. Now, Essendon hasn't improved on last season. They haven't. So where do they go next season? Where's the improvement? The improvement will be, once again, like I said at the start of every season, let's get to finals, win a final. That's the start. I can't see that happening anytime soon. And that old mate on Twitter is having an absolute field day with it.
Yeah, our boy there, Mr. Essendon not playing finals Twitter account. It's unbelievable. It's still going, and it'll keep going unless they make some changes.
Still going.
Couple other games to look at. Crows were, I don't know what's going on with the Giants. We said it last week. They got all this talent, and I don't know what they're doing. It's like, on paper, like we said, on paper, like the team, like a perfect example is if you take that Giants team and you put it on paper, and you put that Richmond team and you put it on paper in the grand final, you look at it and go, oh yeah, Giants will smash Richmond in this game because of the collective talent that they have. They're that good. It's just they can't play.
Proves that talent doesn't get you anywhere without
it doesn't. It only gets
without
you
a
so
good
far.
system and coach. And many people have been critical of Leon Cameron, and I think this is where the club is failing those group of players. They need to move on from the man. They just signed him to a new contract. The guy has shown he can't get the job done, and he's got so much talent at his disposal. Mind you, they've given away and had to get rid of talent because they can't pay.
Like we said,
they essentially got the best draft picks for 2 years, and now all those guys have all grown up together. Like, that's why this team should have so much cohesion. There's as you said, you know how many guys they've had go out and then they just pull up another one from their reserves, and the guy comes in and gets 30 touches.
Like guys like Hopper and Tim Taranto,
right.
and those guys, they're like elite. They're unbelievable.
They've got so much talent. It's very, very disappointing, and I think who would be more disappointed than anyone would be the AFL themselves, because they gave them so much opportunity to be a successful club straight, you know, within the first sort of 5 years to 8 years of their existence, and they're not living up to that expectation that they should be. It's I don't know. It's dumbfounding, to be honest. I don't have more words to describe it, because I'm just amazed that they don't. You know, here's a team that got to a grand final. You think you'd be even hungrier after getting smashed in the manner they did. But where are they? They're not even going to make finals.
We're literally just going to continue slamming teams here, because these
if Carlton make finals over them, GWS.
That's a disgrace.
No, nothing against Carlton. Carlton's actually in my book, Carlton's better than Essendon at the moment.
They've improved. They've improved.
Surpassed Essendon. So
Yeah,
you
but
Essendon fans out there, get your head checked because I'm saying that correctly. He is. Clear him up. Carlton are better than us, and it's the proof is in the way that they're actually playing and getting victories.
But the other team, I'm going to move to these boys because last week and this week, they have been horrendous. The Demons have been shocking. It is now time for Goodwin. He's got to go. Surely he's got to go. I don't know. It's just, they just got slapped. They got beaten by Fremantle, which was not a pretty game to watch in all means. And then they lost to a bunch of kids in Sydney. Like the Swans. They're playing kids. Like, come on.
They lost the inside 50s to Fremantle. They didn't do too good around the ball. You would think they would be able to do better. I mean, they weren't playing in Perth. So
yeah,
you would have thought they'd be able to get the victory. And it just shows the inconsistency. I think Melbourne are much similar to Essendon in a way that when they're playing at their best, they show enough that they can potentially challenge the best teams. But it's that best does not come week in and week out.
Yeah.
The difference between when they play their best football and then when they go on these runs where they just lack, composure. They lack ability to hunt the ball, hold tackles and, keep the ball in their 50. It's just the discrepancy. It's ridiculous. There's no in between where, sometimes a side is good when you can clearly see that they're not playing at their level that that they can play out when they're elite, but they're still able to stay in games because they are still doing the fundamentals. Melbourne, on the other hand, when shit ain't going right, shit's just everything's out the window. Their fundamentals go.
It's bad.
They lack composure. They
so
start
bad
bombing it
to watch.
inside the 50. They start bombing it inside the 50. They stop lowering their eyes, and it all goes downhill south quickly. And that's where Essendon and Melbourne are similar on that retrospect.
Definitely. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in.
I'm happy for Sydney though because he's playing the young guys. They're gonna have to show something. They've still got not a bad side. You don't know where Sydney could be next year, but potentially if Buddy's somehow able to actually play. And they've still got a decent midfield with Kennedy and Parker. A few guys there who are still guns at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And they've still got Rampy and a few senior guys down back with Lloyd. Mick put that, what's his name? Aaliyah down back.
Yeah.
He's getting better. So the things are looking good for Sydney.
They look all
as
right.
a Sydney supporter, hey, you played finals for how many years in a row? Just relax. You'll be back.
Exactly.
You're showing promise already towards the back of this year. So promising stuff.
Well, the other game at the moment that's running live as we're on here is Brisbane versus the Suns. They're up by 28 points at quarter time. And lo and behold, they've actually kicked 5 goals for Brisbane. So they're kicked straight so far. And what do you know? They're up by 28 points. All right, we'll quickly do the tips before we move on. So let's get these round 17 tips in. Saints West Coast.
Oh, that's a tough one. Jeez, I didn't think West Coast would lose to the Doggies. That's for sure. But all right, it's not over in Perth.
It's at the Gabba.
It's at the Gabba. Oh, well, we're going to go Saints. We're going to go roughy here. We're going to go roughy.
West Coast. Mind you, I actually tipped the Dogs against you last week as my roughie, so I got a tip back on you.
Well, I'm going against. This
I know. Here we
Saints.
go. Geelong, Richmond, Metricon.
Oh, tough. I'm going to stick with the Tigers because I think they're going all the way this season.
That's good. I've gone Geelong, and I'll explain why I went Geelong really quickly at the end. North Dockers, it's a pretty easy one, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's at Metricon. Mate. North is just struggling. Port Essendon, well, We know where we're
Oh.
going with that. Port.
Port Adelaide by
Here we
minimum
go.
6 goals.
The Inconsistency Bowl. GWS versus Melbourne.
Oh wow! How can you pick a winner out of this, Dom?
A draw. I actually went Melbourne. I'm giving them one last shot. One last shot. That's it.
I'm going GWS. They got too much talent, man. They got too much
Damn,
talent. They should be
I
better.
like this. We've got 3 games that were not the same here. Carlton, Adelaide,
Adelaide Oval.
Metricon.
Oh, it's Adelaide Oval. I was going 3 in a row. I was getting on the Adelaide bandwagon right there, and I'm going the Blue Baggers. Blue Baggers. They're finding a way to win close games, the Blue Baggers, and that's showing a side that's learning from their mistakes. I like it. Blue Baggers to get the W.
I'm all aboard the Adelaide Crows. I'm on the bandwagon. I tip the Crows. Dogs versus Hawks.
Dogs.
Bang.
It's easy.
Lions, Swans. Kazali Stadium in Queensland.
We'll go to Swans. Oh, I mean Lions, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say,
Lions,
wow.
Lions.
And
Not
then
Swans.
the Pies versus the Suns at the Gabba.
Pies.
Bang. All right, I'll quickly explain why I went Geelong against Richmond.
Here we go.
This is my theory, and I can't wait because I genuinely reckon Geelong's going to win this game. So Geelong's going to win this game, and all their supporters are going to be up and about like they do at the same time every year. Yeah? They beat a top side, and they're like, yeah, we're going to make finals. We're going to win it again. Yeah, every year. It's the same old shit every year. They're going to win this. They're going to become flag favourites. And then they're going to get slapped in the finals and brought back to reality because Richmond's winning the flag. But I've tipped that they'll win this week. They've been playing that well. I reckon they'll win. They'll come out firing. They'll win it. And the whole narrative around Geelong will change. Oh, yeah, whatever. Give me a spell, mate.
Let me just tell you, there's one man that I am loving tuning into Geelong games and watching.
I know.
And there's from a day when I first started watching AFL where the forward actually stayed down the forward line and just dominated with his size, Tom Hawkins is having an absolutely elite year. The bloke doesn't get All-Australian, I will be mystified, and I will actually be doing a tape drilling the media, whoever does the award, because he just put it in the bag. He's sitting at full forward All-Australian this year. The bloke is leading his team in goals and leading his team in goal assists. Unbelievable. The guy's dominating, and I can't wait for the matchup. It's going to be a good game. Everyone, make sure you tune in this Friday night. Big one, Geelong, Richmond. And on that note, Domma,
coming up next, F1 news. Boy, oh boy, have I got a good one for you.
It's going to be good.
All right, we're back. Formula One.
Speak to us, Domma. Exciting stuff.
Lewis didn't win.
What happened? He was pole. It was pole.
Listen to this. I'll set the scene for you. Lovely, glorious day in Italy, Monza. Bang, we start the race. Lewis Hamilton off and running. Carlos Sainz in second. Gets a beautiful 5-second gap. He's home. You know he's home. It's a one-stop race. It's a one-stopper. Lewis Hamilton's home, mate. Perfect conditions. No one's catching him. Then, before that happened, Vettel was finished, mate. His brake went, and they had to bring it in. It caught on fire. Anyway,
Ferrari,
they're a shambles. They're a shambles. Then the scariest thing happened. Literally, one of my boys, I love Charles Leclerc. He slipped off the thing. He went into the barrier at about 200 Ks.
Oh, shit.
The car, if you haven't seen the crash, the car, mate, I was like, oh, he better get out of this car. We've seen a lot of deaths in motorsport in the last few years. He was good. He got out. He walked away from it. He actually jogged away from it, but the car was destroyed. But because of that crash, the impact into the wall was that hard. It was the tire wall, and it broke the thing, and the tires kind of like fell out, not onto the track, onto the side part. But because it's a hazard, if someone else goes off there, it can potentially be life-threatening. So they suspended the session. So they put a safety car first, and then they went to a
Ooh.
suspended session. During that safety car before the suspended session, the pit lanes were closed. And Lewis Hamilton didn't see the red cross on the flashing thing and actually went into the pit and got his one stop done. So what happened was he came back out and they kept going. And then they stopped the session because of the crash. They had to fix it. And they said he was copping a penalty. They didn't know what the penalty was. So suspended session is all the cars come into the pit stop in formation and they stop. That's it for 10 minutes. And then what happens is they go back out, do a formation lap, and they start back on the grid in their positions as if they're starting the race again.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I've never seen it before. Like Jenson Button, former world champion, he's never seen it before. So it was like a first for a lot of people. An interesting thing in a suspended session, you can actually get your pit done while all the cars are waiting there. You can actually like change the tires and that because the FIA reps are there and you can pass it by them and say, I want to do this, and they approve it, you can. In my opinion, it's a stupid thing for the sport because there was 2 cars that hadn't pitted yet and they did their pit during the suspended session. So they didn't lose effectively 25 seconds off of their race time. It's a free pit. And one of those guys actually finished on the podium.
Wow.
And I'll explain that. Anyway, they resumed the thing. And I think
what happened with Hamilton? He got a penalty?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They went back on the formation to start the race again, and he got the penalty. So the penalty was a 10-second stop in his thing. So he has to go into his pit, stop for 10 seconds, and then he drives through. So it's effectively a 28 to 30-second penalty. So he went from first to last. So effectively...
Did he finish 7th?
It's unbelievable. He drove like a machine, mate, to get back into that. He did finish 7th.
What?
So anyway, he finished 7th. He drove like a machine. I'm talking about a machine. You
He would have been human. Well, Dom, just hearing that's the first time I've heard this. That does not make any sense at all. The guy got done because he did it when it was flashing red. But if he just waited, he could have just done it for free when they made you stop anyway.
Yeah, but they didn't know that they were going to suspend the session at the time. That came a couple safety car laps later. But anyway, I don't care. He got stews. They kept saying, "Oh, we didn't know. There should have been a light." What are you talking about? All the boards flash up at Mercedes pit stop saying, "Oh, it's closed." So they just need to get on the radio and tell them. Anyway, there was a stuff up from there. It was him and another guy, Giovinazzi. He also copped the same thing. He did the same thing as Hamilton. But yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you. It was the greatest thing to happen to motorsport. To F1 racing, it was literally like we were in 2022. Equalization was in the sport, and you just had people overtaking each other. It was just a battle. The last 26 laps of that race was epic. People were overtaking each other, people chasing each other down. It was like
what you want to see.
Lando Norris in 4th had Valtteri Bottas. So another Mercedes was there. For like the last 16 laps, Bottas was in 1 second. He could have overtaken him in any stage. It was just defending by Norris, defending by Ricciardo not wanting to get overtaken. Bottas defending because Ricciardo's catching him. Like, it was unbelievable.
Sounds like an intense start.
And then you got at the back of the track, bloody Lewis Hamilton, he just overtaking.
Like a maniac.
It was elite. And I don't know if you haven't noticed just yet. I haven't mentioned Max Verstappen once because he didn't finish the race. Max Verstappen did not finish the race for Red Bull.
What happened to him?
Car problems. It's not good. And like your second driver for your constructors, Albon, he didn't finish in the top 10. I don't think he did. No, he didn't.
Oh, that's not good for the constructors.
So
Red Bull, they're chasing. They're already behind on Mercedes.
Exactly. So we had 2 new podium finishes for the first time in their career ever finished on the podium.
That's good.
Person that finished second, the person that finished second is the second podium he's ever had in his career. The person that won the race is a person that's won their first Grand Prix ever in their career as well. Nice. It's elite. This is what we want. Before I get into it, though, Williams, during the week, if you didn't hear it, that was their last race. They got bought. Claire Williams and her father Frank have sold it to an Italian company called Dalton Capital. They were nice enough to actually say, we're going to keep the Williams name because of the history in the sport. So they're going to still be racing under Williams, the name, but it's a completely different car. They've taken
When you
over
look close up to the badge, it's different.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go from 10 to 1 this
Here we
week
go.
because every other week it's bloody Hamilton 1. So I'm not surprising anyone. 10th to 1. 10th, Perez. Number 9, Danny Kvyat. Haven't said that name once. 8, Esteban Ocon in the Renault. 7th, Lewis Hamilton. 6th, Daniel Ricciardo.
Danny Rick.
Yes, 5th, Valtteri Bottas. 4th, my boy, Lando. 3rd, Lance Stroll. 2nd, Carlos Sainz. And his first win in GP, Pierre Gasly. The guy that Red Bull booted off their team for Alex Albon because they thought he wasn't good enough.
He gets the W.
First. Yes. It's so good. It was awesome to watch. Now, this is where the controversy just quickly kicks in with that Lance Stroll free pit. Because Lando Norris was really pissed off about it in the post interview because he literally got out there and went, I lost by 4 seconds to Lance Stroll in 4th, but you effectively saved 30 seconds of a pit stop, changing your tyres in a suspended thing. So technically, Lando Norris should have finished 3rd and we would have had a McLaren 2-3. That's the grey area in the sport that probably has to change. You can't be doing that stuff. That's
you can't be doing that. That's
You can't be doing that. So,
nah,
awesome race.
They'll look at that one. They'll look at that one.
Yeah, as I said, Verstappen didn't finish. Both Ferraris, they're a shambles. Leclerc's driving around the tractor, the red tractor around the course, and he just can't do anything.
Which track's up next, Domma?
Maggiano in Italy. So it's still in Italy. It's this week, Sunday. Tune in again. World Championship, constructors. I won't go through the constructors. It's pretty much over. They're up by 130.
Wow.
Mercedes, it's finished. But the World Championship, Hamilton's up 164. Bottas has now overtaken Verstappen in second, 117. Verstappen's 110. Now, this is where it's interesting. Like I said last week, it's awesome in the mid-pack. 4th is Stroll on 57. 5th is Norris on 57. 6th is Albon on 48. Leclerc, 7th on 45. Gasly, 8th on 43. And Sainz and Ricciardo, 9th and 10th on 41. So literally from 4th to 10th, it is only 16 points separating them. That's where I'm focusing this season on the mid-pack. So tune in this Sunday for another race in Italy. So, yep, coming up next, that's all I've got for you there. It was an exciting weekend, mate. We've got some UFC news from the big fella, Saucy. All right, welcome back. Saucy, UFC. Let's hear it, mate.
Just say I tuned in and watched the fights that I wanted to watch. I don't sit there every Sunday unless it's a main fight night where we've got the big names out there. I'll tune in and watch it live. Other than that, I just watch the fights that I like to watch through a nice little hole
comment
on the
internet.
internet.
No comment. Yeah.
No comment. I was through UFC League Pass.
Yeah. Fight night, ESPN Plus.
Fight night.
Just for Dana White while I was listening to it.
All right, ladies and gents. So obviously we'll go over the card. As you know, I like to do. I usually go over the main card, the main sort of fights. But we'll just run through some of the results. So you had the bantamweight division, Cole Smith versus Hunter Azure. Hunter Azure was able to get the win on decision in the ending the 3 rounds. The judge seemed him as the winner. The women flyweight division, you had Vivian Araújo versus Montana de la Rosa, and Vivian Araújo was able to get the W. Featherweight division for the men, Brian Keller versus Ray Rodriguez. Brian Keller submission in the first round within the first minute of the fight. I didn't watch that fight, but I might actually just go watch the whole minute of the fight just to see what happened because I love when there's an early finish. You got in the middleweight division, Andre Muniz versus Bartosz Babinetsky, and he was able to get the win in the first round with a submission. Welterweight, Mikel Pereira versus Selim Inedev. Mikel Pereira was able to get the W round 3 with a submission. Now these two, the undercard, the co-main event, and the main event, these are the 2 fights which I've watched. Ovince St. Peru versus Alonzo Mainfield. St. Peru was able to get the KO in round number 2. And
That was big.
Alistair Overeem, we'll touch back on that in a sec, Dom. Alistair Overeem versus Augusto Sakai, heavyweight division. You know I love to watch the heavyweights, Domma. And that was a good fight. It went to 5 rounds, and in the 5th, Alistair Overeem was able to get the KO. We'll talk over the St. Peru fight first. Tuned in, watch that fight. St. Peru, been around for a while. He's a veteran. He had a reach advantage in the fight. He was able to use that to his advantage really well. Commanded the center of the octagon and forced Alonzo to sort of play a bit of a counter game as he didn't have as much reach. And you can see Alonzo was trying to fire off when St. Peru was looking to attack on the counter. So, but for me, first round, St. Peru won the round, was the more active fighter. But regardless, what happened in the first round, what happened in the second round, Domma, was what ended the fight. And let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen this knockout, get on the internet, search it up. Ovince St. Peru KO over Alonzo Mainfield. Let me just say, it was one of the cleanest KOs I've ever seen in my whole life. The man on the back pedal as Alonso's throwing the hooks in, weaves out of the way, and then with the left just comes with an absolute beast of a hook and straight to the chin. You will not see a more clean knockout than that in the UFC, ladies and gents, because that was one punch. That was the epitome of a one-punch knockout. There was literally one good hit to the jaw, and
that was it.
He dropped like a sack of spuds, literally. Like a sack of spuds, dropped, and his body had no control. Like, the way his body dropped was like you see, a crash test dummy flying out of the car when it takes the impact. It was literally like that. It was literally like that. So yeah, ladies and gents, go watch that KO because it was really good. And even if you can somehow find a stream of the fight, watch it because it doesn't go for too long. So good viewing. The heavyweight, Alistair Overeem got the KO over Augusto Sakai. Man, Overeem, old fella,
beast.
The bloke, Domma, he's only had let's just a bit of quick math here. He's only had a lazy 65 fights in his career. Ladies and gents, he's only had 65 fights. That's a lot for a UFC career, for an MMA fighter. And, but he was going into this fight underdog, I believe, as the older guy going in. But let me tell you, ladies and gents, he was able to he held his own through 5 rounds. It just showed how he was how he's actually evolved a bit of his game, known as a kickboxing background. But that's not what got it done for him in this fight, Dom. That's the interesting thing. He was able to get Sakai and get him on the ground, use that ground and pound game, and that in the end, that was able that was what got him the win. He was able to get Sakai to the ground, use his body weight, make it hard for Sakai to get up, keep changing the position of his body weight, and then just beat him on the ground. All you have to do is just go look up, have a look at Sakai's face at the end of this fight. The amount of elbows, and hammer fist he copped on the ground, his face was just bloody damaged. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a broken nose. I haven't looked it up, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a broken nose in there because there was blood everywhere. Let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there was blood everywhere. So, man, it was an interesting fight, but Sakai was able to put pressure on at times. But coming to that fourth and fifth round, it started the fourth round. Sakai came out really blazing, probably wore himself out a little, in my opinion, and that's what allowed Overeem to get into the second half of that fourth round, and then was able to carry that over into the early stages of the fifth round and get the finish. I think Sakai maybe just he lacked a bit of fitness and cardio, which he was showing he was gassing quicker. He was hitting shots, Dom, and he was challenging Overeem, and at times Overeem looked wheezy and looked a bit jelly legged, but he fought back the old fella, and he was able to push on and get the win. And I'm just trying to have a look here and see if any of this sort of affects the standings. Here we go. It does. So Alistair Overeem moves up one spot on the standings. That win puts him in the top 5. So this is good stuff. And obviously, the big boy, John Jones, has moved up to the heavyweight division. So let me just tell you, Dom, this heavyweight division is going to be the one to watch in the next 12 months. You got Stipe Miocic at the top, Francis Ngannou, who's no slouch himself. You got Alistair Overeem, who's moving into the top 5. You got our boy, Derek, big boy Lewis, number 4, who we want to see him get another title shot. And obviously, you got big boy John Jones coming up from light heavyweight.
It's stacked.
It's good. Sakai moves down. I think so. Sakai was still able to move up a spot somehow. I don't know if these are right. This doesn't look right. I think there's some sort of something going on with UFC's bloody their system, mate. It doesn't look right. They've got nearly all the fighters going up spots. I don't understand. I mean, how can Sakai go up a spot when he just lost a bout? It doesn't make sense. I think it's busted. It's busted.
Fix it, Dana.
All right. Let's go back. As we know, we like to just go through the card upcoming. So this Sunday, UFC Fight Night, Waterson versus Hill, the women's stramweight as the main event. Under that, you've got Ottman Azayata versus Kane Worthy in the lightweight. I think that's one to tune into. Ottman Azayata has never lost a fight. Always interesting tuning into guys that have never lost a fight to see.
Definitely.
If you've never lost a fight, you've got a target on your back. Because guys on the other side are like, they want to be that guy that wants to give you that first loss. So that's always interesting, and you must tune into those sort of fights. And you got the women flyweight, Roxanne Modafferi versus Andrea Lee, light heavyweight. This is one I'll be tuning into. Ed Herman, Mike Rodriguez, and the featherweight, Billy Contillo versus Kyle Nielsen. I think that's one to tune into as well. Both of them have a very, very similar record where they've got both got 3 or less losses, and both have 13 or plus wins. So their records are really, really similar. So it could be a really good bout and similarly matched in that respect. All right, Tomo, that's the UFC. We've flown through that for another week. We will be back for our next segment.
All right, we're back. We're back, and it's back. It didn't take that long, but the Premier League is right back this weekend. It's starting on, where are we? On Saturday to kick us off. Fulham defeating your boys Arsenal in the first game. I had to do that. Yeah, so Fulham, Arsenal, Craven Cottage will be the first game. It's good to have it back. Mate, it's flown around. So
Before we
many
knew
things
it,
have happened.
we called this in our earlier pods. We said, before you know it, ladies and gents, we'll be
They'll be
talking
back.
about the Premier League. Because, there's one thing that has actually been good for Cowboy is that it's rolled all the sports now into one
Yeah,
consecutive
100%.
sports season, because they're all now rolling into each other. With all the pauses where now you've got NBA being played when it's not usually played. You got AFL that's pushing back season. It's good. It's good for the fans. Good for the viewers.
No, it's awesome.
We like it.
Looking forward to tuning in. A few games to point out for this week. Some of the big games: Arsenal, Fulham, as mentioned. Leicester against West Brom. I know just Leicester's turned the corner. And what do we got? Spurs, Everton, which would be pretty good. Hopefully Rodriguez plays in that against the Spurs.
Massive signing. I like it.
Chelsea against Brighton. I know it's a non-compete. Well, it should be, but Chelsea, all their signings hopefully should play, and Havertz and a few of the others. But the game I'm really looking forward to, and I shouldn't be looking forward to because the team I'm not really a big fan of, but the other team that they are playing against, they've got promoted. We loved them when we were in primary school, like early years in high school. We haven't seen them for such a long time, but they're back. Liverpool against Leeds United at Anfield. We want them to stay up. We don't want them to get relegated. So it's awesome to have them back. The history of that club back in the Premier League is just fantastic.
Story about that from back in the day was that's actually the first team that I sort of followed in English football. Had a cousin, even my brother used to follow Leeds. Anyone who doesn't know, Harry Kewell and Mark Viduka, two of the greatest Australian football players of all time, played for Leeds United, both at the same time. That's why I sort of started following them and watching them. But anyone doesn't know the history of Leeds, they sort of got into a bit of trouble, financial issues, weren't able to play players, and they were relegated. I think they even went back to as far as the second division of second league division. They've now finally, after many years, have got back into the top flight, which is great for their fans and great for their club. The reason why I stopped following Leeds was just because once they moved out of the Premier League, you weren't able to watch them on Foxtel, being here in Australia, which is where it used to be played, showing the games. So I actually started following Arsenal because I like Thierry Henry, and ever since I've followed Arsenal. So I have a soft spot for Leeds. I've got a cousin who follows Leeds religiously, has followed them since then, has now followed them back up. He's ecstatic that they're back in the top flight. He can't wait for the season. So, good stuff for the club, man, because they've got so much history and they were such a powerhouse club back in the day. They had anyone who go have a look at Leeds back many years ago. They were a really strong side in the Premier League. So.
It's good. It's so good to have them back. Let's quickly do a couple. We'll do these. These are our futures, mate, because we're going to predict here. Let's do some futures. Who do you reckon's winning it?
Well, in my opinion, it's once again a two-horse race, and that's the big two at the top. I just can't see anything changing this season. Obviously the main contenders are your Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, and Manchester City. To be honest, I'm going to go City's going to get up there this season. Pep's going to find a way to do something, change something that's going to keep them a bit more consistent. And hopefully they get the chocolates.
I reckon. I'm going back to back for Liverpool.
It's going back to back. All right, we're on opposite sides. We're on opposite sides. Yeah. I like it. I think it's a two-horse race. It really is. I can't see anything changing this season. You got new players coming. Quite a few new players coming in for Chelsea, which is always difficult with chemistry issues. And as you've seen, Domma, you start first 5 games slow when you've got teams like the Liverpool and Manchester City that have shown they come out in the first
long way back.
Yeah, it's a long way back. They come out first 5-7 games and they win them all. It's a long way back. It is a
It
long way
is.
back. If you get a few draws in there, lose one, all of a sudden, after 5-7 games, you're already down 9 points. It's a long way back.
That's it.
Um,
And the last thing, not EPL related. Well, it's technically EPL related, as we led the show 2 weeks ago with it, and then we had a bit of a discussion about it last week. But old bloody Sookie baby Messi, all of a sudden, what do you know? The $700 million euro release clause. Oh, it actually does exist. Oh, I'm gonna have to stay now and play. Like we said, contracts are contracts. No player is bigger than any club. I hope he just goes in there. He did say he's going to go in there and do what he's got to do, and then a couple of comments after that, he did bag the management, Messi. But what are you going to do, I guess? But
it'll be interesting to see him going back to the club.
last year,
It's his last year, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's 100% leaving after the end of this season. And to be honest, if we didn't have this COVID thing, I reckon he would have. And they lost still in that manner. And his contract was still allowed to walk because the season would have finished normally by that date. He probably would have left this season. I think, 100%. And the main reason why he didn't leave is because he didn't want to get into a legal battle with Barcelona. Correct. He just figured he'd just play out the season and leave at the end. So expect him to see in a new kit next season, and that's what I'm
100%. He would definitely be wearing a Man City jersey next season. Beautiful. Now coming up next is the big one, mate. The NFL season review. Look forward to bringing that to you. So we'll be right back with that. All right. We've waited since the Super Bowl in February. It's back. The NFL Sauce. I'm excited for this. Very excited. We'll go through our picks. Then you can give the viewers a bit of a rundown on some betting tips and stuff. And
just lay them out on the format, what we're going to do here. So, ladies and gents. So, I'll spell it out for you. So, both Domma and I, we discussed, what we're going to do. So, obviously the NFL, anyone who doesn't know what the NFL is, I don't know, maybe you've never gone to the Rockets, American football, gridiron, for all you Australian people, it's the one that they play with wearing pads that everyone likes to call them weak because they wear the pads, which in some senses,
definitely not weak.
They are definitely not weak. Let me tell you, and I'll just pull the stat out for you, which I told Domma today was there's only 1% of NFL games where there is not an injury. So it just shows you the blokes go hard because there's only 1% of all NFL game plays that are played where there is not an injury. But so what we did, we went through during the week. I said to Domma, go get on the betting sites, have a look at the over and unders that the bookies have set for each team, and you and I will go through and we'll choose either the over or the under on the line that was set on this particular bookmaker. So we've gone through, we've given all that for ours, and then we've also given a division winner for each division, and then a conference winner, and then obviously a Super Bowl pick, which we're all laying on the table here. We've got this all down. We'll put this out on the socials later on, but we'll run through it here.
Yeah, we'll definitely put this on the socials.
Yeah, and then along with that, obviously we want to sort of bring a different aspect to the NFL. We talk a bit about sports trading cards, but also like to talk a bit about the betting aspect. And anyone doesn't know, NFL is one of the most bet on sports in the whole world. In America, they love to call it capping, which is handicapping, where you pick your handicaps or your certain picks that you like each week, and then you use bankroll management, and you use that to roll your money and bet a certain percentage of your bankroll on each pick based off your confidence in each pick, and then you take that over the whole 16 rounds, 16 weeks, and then you see where you are from week 1 to week 16. So we're going to do something similar here. I'm going to find a few articles that talk about bankroll management. So this is how you can be a smarter punter and not just a mug. So like by all means, if you want to be a mug, that's your prerogative. But on this show, like I like to help you with the sports card thing and give you information that can help you be better. I think this is information that every punter should know so they can try win more than they lose, essentially. And manage their losses so that you are losing, you are gambling responsibly.
That's it. We'll get straight into it. All odds have been provided by Bet365. As Sauce said, gamble responsibly. I'll even do a cheeky at the end, Sauce, like a multi.
Yeah, we'll do this.
I've wrote down a few games, and then that I think will win. I'll put a roughie in there too. See if people are keen on that. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll do like some picks of the week. Obviously, going into this week one, and then we'll give a few divisional multis that we'll put on. Not advising to put on a heap, but just something fun to keep involved. Maybe a $5 multi that you put on at the start of the season that could get you a nice payout. I've hit a few of these over my time, so it is possible. I'm proof that it can be done. Just has to have a bit of research and a bit of luck along the way. Because in the NFL, anything can happen. Injuries to a quarterback can ruin their whole season. So
that's it.
Let's run through it, Domma.
Yeah, through it. The AFC we'll start with. We'll go into the AFC East.
Yep.
Start it. So Buffalo Bills, I've gone over 8.5. That's $1.68. Miami over 6.5, $2.15. New England under 9.5. I've gone for the outsider bet there, and the Jets under 6.5 at $1.80. And I've got the Bills to win the division at $2.15. So they actually are the favorite. I actually went through and I did who I thought was going to win and lose, and I actually came out with exactly what the punters are thinking. So Bills to win that division, $2.15. And yourself?
I've gone. So the Bills, I've got them over 8.5. Patriots, I've got over 9.5. Dolphins under 6.5. Jets under 6.5. I've got Patriots winning the AFC East. And unpopular. Unpopular this would be riding the Patriots bandwagon without Brady going. But there's one thing that I just... Albeit Cam Newton, right? People want to ride him off. The bloke did win an MVP. Gilmore. He did win an MVP, right? Yeah. So he isn't a scrub. It's not like they're going and picking up some scrub. They're picking up a former MVP. The bloke has something to choose. He has the best coach that's ever walked the planet, NFL coach, on his side, right?
They got a good system.
He's got a good system. And I just think if there's one coach that can get the most out of a player, it'd be Bill Belichick, surely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably. I would say that. In saying that, though, they did lose Brady. They lost Cole Van Noy, Jamie Collins, Danny Shelton, Ted Karras.
Oh, they gave away a heap of players. Yeah, I know this.
And a couple guys haven't opted in. Their best player on the offensive line, Stephon Gilmore, is not going to play due to, I think it was political reasons. So he's not going to be playing. But they can, like you said, they got a quarterback who's reinvented himself now. Well, we'll wait and see if he's reinvented himself. We assume he has. He's lost a lot of weight.
I think it'll be very close between them and the Bills in that division, man. And it's a 2-horse division. So
Bills will be good because they picked up Stephon Diggs from the Vikings.
Wide receiver.
Stephon Diggs from the Vikings? Yeah, wide receiver. So good pick up there. We'll see how good Josh Allen is as well in this division throughout the season. So yeah, nice.
Yeah, that'll be interesting for him to. It'll be interesting to see how he fares. Look, every division you go into, there's only a few that you just there's clearly one winner that you see, but there's quite a few that it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick, and I've only literally gone with the Patriots is just because over my time watching NFL, Belichick just finds a way. I don't know. He just
He
finds a
does.
way. He just
does.
finds a way. Yes, Brady has left, but it was not the Belichick. He would have got rid of Brady earlier, and they would have already.
While he wanted Jimmy, correct.
So I don't think that it's going to affect his thinking. I think he's going to find a way.
Yeah. The next is the AFC North. I've gone Baltimore over 11.5 wins. Bengals under 5.5. Browns over 8.5, and the Steelers under 8.5. And I've got Baltimore winning the division, $1.40. They were the favourites.
I'm not even going to repeat exactly what you've got there, Domma. Is exactly what I've got. Essentially, exactly the same. This is a one-horse division. Ravens.
They got a point to prove.
Yeah. Them to win the division, $1.44. That is an absolute banker. Only way they don't win that division is Lamar Jackson gets injured and goes out for the rest of the season. That's the only way they don't win that division.
Correct.
Steelers, interesting one. You know, I think maybe if this was a number we got maybe 2 years ago on Ben Roethlisberger, I would have jumped all over it. This would have been like nearly my bet of the season, over 8.5. But he just he's getting towards the back end of his career. He's shown that he consistently gets injured, and their backup, there's no faith in him.
No.
So I see Big Ben getting injured, and this season they could potentially only win 6 or 7 games. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got them probably winning about 7. I actually put the Browns surprisingly to have 11 wins in this division. Yeah, it could be a bit of an oversight for me, but offensively they are jacked. They have got so many offensive weapons. Next up, we've got
one thing I will say is Cleveland Browns do have a good strength of schedule, ladies and gentlemen. So
yeah, they do.
That's why we've gone with the over. Their strength of schedule is one of the best. So they're in the league. I think they're third best strength of schedule based off the statistics and the ratings. So
they picked up a few. Who they got here? They picked up Adrian Claiborne, Austin Hooper, Andy Janovich, Case Keenum is a backup, which is a pretty good backup, and Kareem Hunt. So pretty good pickups for them. Pittsburgh, they picked up Derek Watt, Eric Ebron, not a bad player. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But Baltimore just looks so strong in this division. It's really just a joke how strong they look. Next up, we've got the AFC South. I've got Houston over 7.5, Indy under 8.5, Jacksonville under 4.5, and Tennessee over 8.5. And I've got Tennessee Titans actually winning the division at 250 with 10 wins. So I don't know what you've got there. That's an interesting one too.
I've got Colts over 8.5, Titans under 8.5, Texans over 8.5, and Jaguars under 4.5. I'll just start off with the Jags. They stink. They've literally traded away all their talent. They are tanking for Taylor Lawrence, the number 1 pick that's coming up in the draft, who's going to be an absolute beast of quarterback. So that's just obvious as night and day, Dommo, because they've literally traded away all their good guys. So if they ain't tanking, I don't know what they're doing at that franchise. Texans, Deshaun Watson signed a big contract. They're a bit of a rabble. Could see them potentially winning games, and that's just because I think they win their 2 games against the Jags. Even who knows, they're playing now without crowds, so really home field isn't really much of an advantage at the moment.
And they lost, which I didn't realize, but they lost DeAndre Hopkins, which I actually didn't realize.
Yeah, so they've lost quite a few players, so that's why I'm not surprised that you took the under on that, and it was really a line ball call. I think I did listen to another podcast where some American betting podcast, where they talked about Texans, and they said, I think one of the guys said I was able to get a line of 7. I like that number better, but unfortunately we've missed that line and it's moved on to 7.5.
I
So
actually, sorry, I actually went over. I actually went over 7.5. I reckon they could probably get 8 wins.
okay,
But
yeah,
that's a pick. It's literally a pick 'em. That game is a
yeah,
pick 'em.
it's
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 like
it's
it's
tough.
either
So
7 or it's going to be 8. Like that's the way I looked at it. Like I gave him benefit of the doubt in a couple games,
yeah, and
but it all
the
depends.
Titans, who
With the
they got in their
beast,
quarterback? Who they put in there now?
uh, they got Ryan Tannehill, and then they
so
got the beast Derrick Henry, mate. He's just a truck.
so what happened with Mariota? He got injured or they got rid of him?
Nah, they got rid of him to Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay, right. So they traded off Mariota. They got Tannehill. He's a guy who's been in the league already 7 years. He's shown you who he is. He's not
Not
going to
bad at
magically get
Miami.
better overnight, and he's not an elite quarterback. So that's I come up and I just bring it to the point where this is why I've got the Colts winning the division. My boys, I'm going to back them. We've
Your
actually made
boys.
good changes. We've been able to,
Defensively, unbelievable.
yes, we've been able to actually improve our offensive line as well, which has always been an issue in years past. And Phillip Rivers, I don't care what you say, all right? He's a bit old, but he's an upgrade on Jacoby Brissett. I don't care what anyone
100% he
says.
is.
He's an upgrade. And I just think
Yeah.
that number of 8.5 is good considering you got to pay those 3 teams 2 times each. So that's already
No, I reckon you'll be all right.
that's 6 games there that I think maybe we could win 5 of those 6, 4 of those 6. That's a good start.
Yeah,
It's a good start. So, I think we can win the division. So I'll go with my boys, the Colts, to win that division.
bang. I reckon it'll
Last
be
one on the
very
AFC
interesting.
West, Domma.
AFC West, Denver over 7.5. With 8 wins, I put them at $1.86. Not sure on that one. I'm going to asterisk that. I probably wouldn't use that in a multi. I just saw that Von Miller is going to be out for the season for Denver, so that's not really great. Kansas City over 11.5. Raiders under 7.5, and the Chargers, who are poo in my opinion, under 7.5 at $2.15. I've got Kansas City winning the division with 12 wins, $1.22 favorite.
Yeah. I've got the Chiefs winning the division over 11.5. Chargers under, Broncos over, and Raiders under 7.5. And Broncos under over 7.5. Sorry, and Raiders under 7.5. Chiefs are going to win that division. That $1.22 is literally a banker in a divisional multi. If you're going to throw one together,
100%.
I think you put that and the Ravens in, and that will get you a nice start, and then you work from that point. Would be my suggestion. But yeah, I think that's locked up by Chiefs. The Broncos is an interesting one. The Broncos is an interesting one. Obviously the Raiders, they've moved off to Vegas.
Las Vegas. Yep.
Ladies and gents, look, this can go one of 2 ways. We've seen what happened when the Las Vegas Golden Knights of the NHL moved there in their first season. They were able to make it to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Or it can go in the completely other direction because you are in Las Vegas, the city that never sleeps, and there are a lot of temptations. So I see it going in that direction, Domma, that they will be on the absolute party train and they will not do very good this season. Their first season.
I honestly just reckon that it's going to take a few seasons, and they just can't make up their mind on the quarterback. They got Derek Carr there and Mariota, and I don't know what they're doing. John Gruden doesn't necessarily get along with his quarterbacks at the best of times, and he's not doing Derek Carr any favors by bagging him during the offseason. It's not really the greatest thing, but we'll see what happens there.
Who's more of a lemon, Derek Carr or John Gruden?
I love John Gruden. He's just an absolute nutcase. I love him. He's just nuts.
On that Broncos one, Tom, you said you've been an asterisk over 7.5. That's
because
it's line ball that.
Yeah, because Von Miller got injured. Whenever you got
but their defense is good, so that's going to be able to keep them in games.
And they picked up Melvin Gordon who they took from the Chargers, who are in their division as well. So we'll see what happens. I think Drew Lock is going to start as QB, I'm pretty sure. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. So we'll have a look at that. You know
All
how
right.
they are. They're
Onto
usually a
the
bit of a
NFC.
yeah, NFC East. Well, I've got some great ones here.
Oh, here we go.
Go
Here we
Dallas
go.
under 9.5. Giants under 6.5. Philly over 9.5. And Washington under 5.5. And I've got Philly winning that division comfortably at $2.30. Like, I'll explain that after you give your picks.
First and foremost, I'll agree with you on that point. I've got Philly winning the division, and I've got them going over 9.5. The Cowboys, I've got them going over 9.5. Giants under 6.5, and Washington under 5.5. First of all, Washington suck. They win over 5.5 games. Well done to them. Giants, I just got no confidence in that franchise.
No.
Like, I just got, and that's where it sits with it. It's like, the bookies have got it at 6.5. They've got it at that number for a reason. Maybe they can get to that 7th win. Do I see them getting any more than that 7th? If they're able to get to that point, no way. It's a line ball, that one, man. Like, I think it's a flip of the coin over 6.5 or under 6.5. I think if you were able to get a line of 7, maybe at some point earlier back, you're probably sitting pretty. I'd like that line, but under 6.5 for me. Eagles over 9.5. I actually see them winning 11 games, somewhere in that vicinity. And Cowboys, I've got them over 9.5 now, Dom. And I know you don't like them. I know.
What are you talking about? They are my second favorite franchise in the NFL. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, but I love the Cowboys. I love the Cowboys. Like I mentioned last week, that's why I bought Aikman's rookie. I love the Cowboys.
Yeah, America's team.
But there's a reason why I did that. I just reckon they're poop.
You let us know, and I'll just rebut off your point.
I just reckon that, well, it's literally a test season as Mike McCarthy as coach. First season, it's a test season. That's why Dak got the franchise tag. He didn't get offered the big deal. I just reckon they're no good. They've had a lot of injuries in the offseason as well. They're old. They're just going to be no good. I'll read you some of their schedule, and this is why I reckon that they're not going to win over 9.5 games. They've got the Rams at Rams week 1. That's a loss. Then they've got Falcons at home. That's a pick 'em. I reckon Atlanta's going to be good this year. So I actually said they weren't going to win that. Then they're at Seattle. They're not winning that. Then they got Cleveland. They probably win that. They win against New York. They beat the Cardinals, so they're 3-3. They beat Washington. They're 4-3. Then they lose to Philly, beat Pittsburgh, lose to Minnesota, beat Washington, so they're 6-5. Lose to Baltimore, 6-6. Beat the Bengals, 7-6. Lose to San Francisco, lose to Philly, beat New York. So they win 8 games. That's where I got my 8 games. I just can't see them winning more than 8. I reckon they are trash. As much as I love the franchise, I just don't reckon they're good.
Yeah,
look,
I didn't look into it as much as that, and I some of my presumption on this has been made based off the bookies.
I just don't. Yeah,
the bookies have actually got them favourite to win the division.
I reckon.
So in that sense, if they've got them to favourite to win the division, I'm going. I'm going to take the over 9.5. But
I think
I'm backed up with that point just because their strength of schedules is one of not the easiest. And they're sitting probably they're sitting 22 here out of 32. And I take my strength of schedule. There's 2 ways to do it. You can take it with the winning percentages of the team from the previous year, or you can use what the bookies have set as the total overs and unders, and you compete those against each other. And these guys come out with these different metrics, and that's the one I like to use. And sort of try. I'm of the opinion that the bookies are obviously the smartest betting minds in betting, so I try to use their numbers against them, and it's just a different aspect to look at.
Sometimes it's just sometimes it's just a trap. You know what I mean?
It's a trap there. Yeah, it could be right. It could be. So I say that with no confidence, man. But I'm with you on that point where you could see them win 8 games. But also, if Dak Prescott actually wants to get paid, the guy has to step up this season, yeah? Like, he has to show that he's improved, yeah? There's no way of him getting the deal that he wants. He wants the Deshaun Watson-like deal. There's no way of him getting that deal if he doesn't come out and do something special this season. So
you know what I genuinely would love, as ridiculous as this sounds, Dallas tank, and they get the second coming of Troy Aikman in Trevor Lawrence. I would love that. He literally just looks like it's going to be like another Aikman.
yeah,
They flog off Dak. They got a good offensive line and Leighton Vander Esch. They got really good players like Amari Cooper and the other guy.
I know your boy doesn't believe in Dak. He hates him. Your boy Colin.
Oh,
He absolutely talks him.
But he's no good. I don't reckon he's any good.
Look, I'm with you, man. Like, he hasn't really proved.
Anyway,
he improved last season. He improved. He has to improve again. He has to get a playoff win. He has to get a playoff win this season.
I've got a soft spot for him, and they frustrate me up the wall every year. They just have 8 wins. Bring back. All right,
on to the next one, Dom. On to the next one.
NFC South. Chicago under 7.5. Detroit Lions over 6.5. Green Bay under 8.5. And Minnesota over 8.5. I got
Wait,
Minnesota.
what did you say? South? Is that North or South?
North.
North. NFC North, ladies and gents.
Yeah, that's the NFC North. And I've got Minnesota over. I've got Minnesota winning that division.
All right. I've got the Vikings, Minnesota Vikings under 8.5. Packers over 8.5. Bears under 7.5, and the Lions over 6.5. Lions. It's a tough one. Like, I think we could see them winning 7 games. They should do a bit better with Stafford. I believe he's returning. He got injured last season. I think he's returning.
Yeah, he did.
So they should improve a bit more. The Bears, we know what a shambles that organization has been for many years. Trubisky, whether he's good or not, the verdict is unknown.
Apparently he outplayed Nick Foles for the starting QB position. So expect him to be starting.
Yeah, no.
Well, they got a few good. They picked up Robin Quinn and Jimmy Graham. They picked up some decent players, but then again,
and I've got the Packers on top winning the division, and
yeah, fair enough.
And I say that with no confidence, and this one I believe it's out of Vikings and Packers. I don't know who Vikings who they got leading the quarterback. Is it still Teddy? Is he out of Minnesota? No. Here we go. We got
Cousins.
Oh, what's his line? You like that? You like that?
You like that?
You like that? They got knocked out the next week after.
They got guys like Adam Thielen as well, who's a gun.
Yeah, right. It's a tough division. I think if Aaron Rodgers does not get injured, last 100%. Season, I think they won 5 games within 3 points or something, real close games. He just finds a way to get wins when it's close, right? And I think if he's able to stay fit and not get injured and see the season through, which he's been, it's been line ball the last few. I think he's gone injured the last 3 of the last 4 or something.
Yeah.
If he stays fit, they win that division. That's where it sits, man. Like, even though 100%. Packers probably haven't done the best thing by him and put the right pieces that he probably needs, I just think he's got too much talent and too much ability to not get it done. It would just be interesting to see if they're able to fix the defensive side of the ball and get stops, which will, more stops you get more opportunity for Rodgers. And I think the guy's he's a good player, so he should be able to get
100%.
Enough wins for them to take out that division. I think they end somewhere around about 9 or 10 wins, and that's enough for them to get that division. Because I just can't see like a Vikings getting 12 plus wins or something and like running away with that division. So I think their strength of schedule sits around mid pack. Same with the Vikings. So it could be quite similar. Yeah, both of
Definitely.
them sit right around the middle of the pack in terms of strength of schedule. So I can see why they've both been given the same number by the bookies.
Yeah.
8.5. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. All right, on to the next NFC South, right?
NFC South, I've got Atlanta over 7.5, Carolina over 5.5, New Orleans under 10.5, but I've given them 10 wins. That's why it's under 10.5. And Tampa Bay over 9.5. And I've got Tampa Bay winning that division.
I've got Saints, New Orleans Saints over 10.5, Bucks over 9.5, and Falcons under 7.5, Panthers under 5.5. Got Saints winning the division. It will be a tough one. I think Saints were able to win the division last year. Obviously a bit more competition with Brady moving over to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, definitely.
And that will be two really, really good matchups to see. That's a tough division. Once again, it's another tough division. I don't know where you sit on the low total of Panthers. You went over 5.5. Interesting. They have got away and gotten rid of a bunch of players. So
I don't know.
I'm not sure that I can see them winning 6 games. Then
yeah,
I think they've gotten rid of a bunch of talent. I could potentially see them trying to tank as well and trying to get this Taylor Lawrence pick and reboot their franchise.
Yeah, I think it was me just hoping that one of my favorite players, Christian McCaffrey, could just carry him to just do it himself.
Yeah, albeit he's that good. Unfortunately, I just don't see them having enough firepower to get over that.
It can go either way with 6 wins. It's either going to get 5 or they're going to get 6 with a 5.5 line there. It's literally either way. But yeah, we'll see what happens in that division. It's either New Orleans or Tampa that win it, unless Atlanta surprises us.
Yeah, I've got Saints winning it, and I think regardless those two teams, I think whoever wins that division, I think that second team, either Bucks or Saints, gets through on a wild card.
Definitely, 100% they do
in that conference.
Exactly. Last one, we've got the NFC West. I reckon this is the super division. Arizona under 7.5. LA Rams over 8.5. San Francisco over 10.5. And Seattle over 9.5. And I've got the 49ers winning that division at $2.05 favorite.
I've got the 49ers under 10.5. Hawks over 9.5. Rams under 8.5. And the Cardinals under 7.5.
Wow.
So I went quite a few unders in that one. I think Cardinals, obviously, first year Kyler Murray, second year Kyler Murray. Teams will have a bit more footage on the guy. They'll understand him exactly. More. I think they'll be able to slow him down a bit and put the stops on him. And it's just a learning curve for him. I think as he learns more, he will get better
definitely.
and become better. But I just think teams will be able to work him out a bit better this season and keep that under 7.5. Rams, this was a tough one for me because obviously they made it to a Super Bowl 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago.
So they weren't far off it. They've got them at 8.5, but from memory, they haven't got the easiest schedule. So they're right up here, one of the hardest strength of schedules. Also, Atlanta Falcons got one of the hardest strength of schedules. That took my pick into account. I've got the Seahawks over 9.5, and I've got them winning the division. I love Russell Wilson. Even though their team have lacked pieces, and Pete Carroll has sort of been scrambling to add more pieces to potentially help out his team. I just see Russell Wilson. He's similar to Aaron Rodgers, and he's not similar. He's similar to Aaron Rodgers in a way that he finds a way to get wins for his ball club. Like he just finds ways to get wins, and he was able to close out a bunch of close games last season where they won games within a small margin. And the guy is essentially the LeBron of the NFL when I went and had a look at his, he's been in the league 8 seasons, and I think out of those 8 seasons, he's played all but one game out of the regular season. So
He's
played
also
16 of 16 for 7 out of the 8 seasons.
and I'm
So
pretty
the
sure
guy
he's
stays
never
fit.
had. I'm pretty sure he's never had a losing season either.
He's never had a losing season. So I like the Seahawks, even though they're. I sort of don't know what Pete Carroll's trying to achieve when he's gotten rid of they had the Legion of Boom years ago. They've pretty much moved on from that whole defense. I don't know what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball. They lacked there a little bit last year, and they were bailed out by Wilson's greatness on the offensive side a lot of the time. And then 49ers, I've gone them under 10.5, and that's just because I like the Seahawks to win the division. And I just think 11 wins will get you that division. So I could see them getting 10 wins. I really can. I could see them getting 10 wins and fighting for a wild card spot. But I don't know. I mean, look, Jimmy G, first year he was able to get to the Super Bowl. He played well. The 49ers are on the up. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I could be completely wrong. But I just think the 49ers, after reaching the Super Bowl, obviously losing to Kansas City last season, I think they're set for a lower year, maybe not getting as far as people think after their successful run last year. Maybe they got there sooner than they thought. You get what I'm saying?
Potentially.
And then maybe it's going to take them. Maybe they overachieved a little bit, and maybe it's just going to take them maybe another 1 or 2 more years to figure it out. And I think Ed Garoppolo is definitely the guy to take to a championship. He's shown that he essentially, as you were mentioning earlier when we were speaking prior to our pod starting, that he was outplayed Mahomes for 3 quarters. Just Mahomes played an absolutely ridiculous last quarter in the Super Bowl.
They won.
Yeah. So I think he's the guy to take them forward. I just think maybe they underachieved from what they achieved last year, and that's them. I think how many wins did they get last year? I think they got 11 wins or something. We can look that up, but I don't think they get the same amount as they did last year. We've seen them in the division.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I actually put down that they were going to win 13 games.
Yeah.
You never know. You don't know.
It's either
they come back
and
firing.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll just say this. This can all be unraveled by one single injury to your quarterback.
100%. That's it.
Right?
It ends.
And it ends.
Just quickly, before we finish up, your AFC and NFC champion.
So my AFC champion is the Baltimore Ravens. The NFC champion is the New Orleans Saints.
I've gone Baltimore in the AFC, and I've gone San Francisco in the NFC. And who have you taken for your Super Bowl?
I've taken, and I'm going with a bit of a Smokey here. I've gone New Orleans to win the Super Bowl.
Sauceys Smokey.
With an absolute whopping on the bookmakers to win the Super Bowl. I think they're at let me go have a look. I'll tell you, ladies and gents. At an absolute whopping $19 on the bookmakers.
Whoa.
Here we go. No,
what's San Francisco?
$12.
That's all right. What are the 49ers?
San Fran's at $10, so not a bad.
Yeah.
If you fancy them to get all the way, not a bad little cheeky $10 bet you might chuck on there and end up with a nice 100 at the end of the season. But yeah, that season's through, Dom. We're sitting. We've both got Baltimore coming through on that side. A bit different on the NFC
on
side.
The other side. Just quickly as well, we'll give a quick multi. These are a couple games I've just come up with that I reckon potentially really good. These are 4 locks and then 1 roughie if you want to put it in there for the 5th team. So
what's this for, division?
No, just for this week's games. Going into next week. Yeah, so we'll see how we go. We might put this on. Well, we'll probably put it on. Chuck a bucker multi on there, saucy. But we got Cowboys at Rams. I've gone Rams. Ravens to beat the Browns. San Francisco to beat the Cardinals. Philly to beat Washington. And then the Smokey, week 1, Dolphins travel to Foxborough and they beat the Patriots. That's the roughie. anything can happen.
Oh, you might want to extend that. You could extend the line there and
Yeah.
take over 7.5 points and give them 7.5 head start.
Yeah.
Potentially save yourself a bit. So maybe they lose, you're still able to lock that in. We'll
have a look and we'll follow that up next week and see.
Yeah, we'll follow that. We've written that down. We'll follow that up next week, and we'll see how we're going. We will be looking to give out one. What do you think we should do? 1 or 2 caps a week. Maybe we'll go with 2.
Yeah, 2.
2 picks a week off the line that we think they'll win. I'm gonna keep it in a spreadsheet. Manage my bankroll. Probably going to start off with maybe like $100, and then rolling in our bankroll, betting anywhere between 1% and 4% of the bankroll at any one time. So for those of you out there who aren't sure what that means if we're starting with $100 and I'm betting 1% of my bankroll, I'm betting $1. If I'm betting 4% of my bankroll, I'm betting $4. Now, if that bankroll after 6 weeks is up to $200 and I'm betting, say, 3%, I'm now betting $6 because I have $200. So just as you get more money, you'll keep the percentage the same, but obviously your investment increases because you're winning. And if you're losing, your investment will decrease, but it's also to prevent how much you lose at any one time so that you can stay in the game for longer and at the end of the day, have a bit of fun and hopefully get some profits by the end of the season. And not lose all your money and gamble responsibly.
As we say. All right, that's our NFL review. Can't wait for it to start. And we'll follow it up. It's going to be a nice staple on sport news each week, which will be good. I'll chuck them up on the socials.
Yeah, we'll chuck those
all the
up
divisions
on the socials.
I'll put my divisions and my picks and Sauceys picks as well. So you can follow them. I'll get them out tomorrow. So then
I'll probably put together some a divisional or multi or 2, which I usually put on every season, and I'm happy to put those out. I'll show anyone how much money I bet on there. I don't bet much. It's usually $5-10. It's something you can afford to lose. You got more money, you can bet more money, but bring it back. Don't spend or bet more than you can afford to lose and gamble responsibly.
Perfect. All right, coming up next, we'll have a brief hobby talk and Sauceys Smokey as we are smashing towards that 2-hour mark. So coming up next, hobby talk. All right, Saucy, we're back. We've got a few things to discuss in hobby talk. Couple things that have happened. Well, couple things have happened this week. AFL Dominance came out. Select AFL Dominance.
Sold out in 3 minutes.
It is a first for Australian football card market.
Unforeseen circumstances in the AFL football card market in Australia.
Gone. 3 minutes, done. Back to the printing press for Select.
What set can we come out with next? Because this is on fire. That's what they're thinking.
So I think
literally what they're thinking.
The way we're looking at it, Sauce and I, for the AFL market is definitely going to go down. I think the grading path with rookie cards and stuff getting graded and.
I think Domma. This is one thing I will mention. I've seen a lot of people on Facebook groups in the AFL buying and trading groups on Facebook, sort of amazed, and some amazed that it's sold out, and some obviously pissed off because they weren't able to get their box for retail price, and now they're being sold on the secondary market for like another 100% on top.
As we discussed last week,
But I think this is, it's uncharted territories for AFL card collecting. And does this see the growth? Maybe not, obviously not the growth that NBA and all the worldwide sports are getting, but the growth
definitely within the country.
yeah, of AFL card collecting and also card collecting in general in Australia. I mean, we're now seeing AFL boxes sell out. Dominant's one of the better sets. I think I don't know if there's one more release after this or that's
I'm not sure.
release of
Cards
the
look really
season.
good though.
Yeah, the
Cards look
cards
really
do look really good,
clean,
man.
clean, real clean.
And one thing I'll give it to Select, they only do on-card autos. There are no sticker autos in the product. So that's like a big win for me. And yeah, a lot of people were pissed off, but I think this is now where we're going to get to, where this sort of stuff's going to get sold out. And if this sort of stuff's getting sold out and boxes are becoming more, I think people should somewhat be happy because now their cards and potentially AFL guys who have been collecting for years and years and years, where on the secondary market, their cards maybe aren't worth what they could be or should be. Now, maybe some of those cards are going to be worth more money as there are more people collecting AFL and more people wanting the cards. So, it's good and it's bad because, guys who are usually able to get boxes at retail price can't get a box. But maybe it's good for you because you've been collecting for the last, 5-6 years. And now some of your guys and some of your cards that you've got are going to be worth a hell of a lot more than what they were, say, even just 12 months ago.
I know that mine are, that's for sure. So
that's like I seen you dug out Matthew Pavlich
I'll rip it out now
that you had.
We're on Hobby Talk.
And you just seen a Matthew Pavlich regular auto card that was selling for what $300 on eBay.
$300 to $400. It's not. This is literally on card.
And I think this is where, as you was mentioning, and what I was getting to, Dom, was this is where I think some of the NBA and that NFL collecting and some of the other sports where they are very dominant on the rookies. I think some of that will now be carrying over to AFL, where obviously rookies are going to be most sought after. And then obviously it's going to be your autos and your higher premium products. But I think rookies will now be the thing. And I think the next big move for AFL cards is like the grading of AFL cards and potentially seeing how that goes as its own market within AFL cards.
You might get your wish, mate. You could get that PSA office opened up in Australia and we can get our cards back. I'll tell you what.
I've been saying this to people. In any one of those companies, BGS, PSA, or SGC, one of you.
Listen to him. He'll run it. Your manager. He'll be your manager.
If one of you wants to open an Australian branch, look no further. I am your man. Contact me. Let's work it out. Let's get in contact. Let's open an Australian branch. Imagine all your cards from China and all your cards from Asia, Japan, whatever, all the Pokemon cards, everything that get graded out of Japan, South Korea, all that, all comes to Australia. And then Canada, US, Europe, all goes to America. Now you've got two places, you ain't got a million cards backlogged, and you're firing out that, you're making more money, and everyone's happier. Like, you just need to make it happen. The fact that there's still only offices in the USA is a joke in 2020. Like, you got to get worldwide. Like, you got to get outside US. You got to set up offices in another country. And if it's in Australia, talk to me because I want to actually make it happen because I think this will grow the hobby so much more, just not only for Australia, but just for this whole bottom half of the world who literally has to wait 3 to 5 months to get cards graded, which is a joke.
Just capturing the market, really. Capture a market that you've tapped into a bit, you haven't fully tapped into it. And if you do it that way, like, you've tapped it big time. Just imagine like Dustin Martin rookies getting put in for grading and Matty Rao.
Look, there are a few guys that I know do grades in AFL and PSA do accept AFL Australian football cards, but it's not prominent. Like you don't see, like you see every day graded card sale up on Facebook. You don't see every day on the AFL page graded cards up.
Just
so
top loaders and one touches, mate.
Yeah.
Or else the Pavlich would be graded, but it's not. The other thing, the last thing really is we mentioned it. NFL players are going to skyrocket. It'll be the same thing that happened in basketball happen with NFL because it hasn't had that peak yet. Because COVID came in, they haven't had that major peak, so those prices will skyrocket for their rookies and whatnot based on the season.
It's already happening, Dom. I'll just give you a point. Like Kyler Murray. Obviously, 3 months ago, you could have bought his PSA 10 base Prism rookie card for just a lowly $300. Now, prior to the start of the season, just sitting at a lazy $870 last sale. So, ladies and gents, if you say 3 months ago, let's not even say 3 months ago. Let's say 2 months ago, you bought one for $400 US. You now could have sold it prior to the start of the season for $800 US, and you've doubled your money within 2 months. There's no stock that's doing that at the moment, Dom. So there's nowhere else you can really get these returns other than sports cards. It's interesting times, amazing times, and it's just showing that there's a bit of a pattern into cards. This same sort of pattern, what I noticed happened in NBA leading up to this NBA season. And then once again, when the NBA season got put in pause and leading up to the bubble and the start of the bubble and the hype and the build-up, it's a constant pattern that I've noticed within sports cards.
And touch on
season points.
Touch on that what you've seen with the basketball, because you made me aware that some of the pricing's starting to kind of
So obviously
regulate
that
a bit in the basketball now.
Yeah. So I won't. And it's what I've noticed. We're seeing now guys who were built up to that season. As soon as they're now being kicked out of the playoffs, their cards are now essentially falling off a cliff and dropping drastically. I mean, look no further than Giannis Antetokounmpo's rookie card up as high as 5,000 now. Selling for 3,000 and under. And there's I think it's good because I think the way that those cards went up and based off what they've achieved, some of these guys, what people were paying, it was not sustainable. And I called this, on the way Luka Doncic's cards were trajectory was going, he was going to surpass Michael Jordan's freaking rookie card. Like the way it was when it's going in that manner. Like the guy's in his second season, it's already there. So if he keeps playing and keeps going and keeps dropping these amazing numbers, what are people going to be paying for him in 5 years? I said, but why no one wants to take into account is what happens in 5 years if he's never even been to a conference final or he's never won a championship, right?
Correct.
And then what happens in 10 years if he's still never won a championship? Then what do you do? So how you can justify the price of that ring off hype? I think this is where now people are starting to be smarter, and you've got the guys at the top of the market that were able to take their money that would have been in, for buying those cards for a heap of a whole less, maybe even 300-400% less than what they sold them for.
Yeah.
And then we're able to capitalize on the top of the market. And I'm no different, Dom, because I did the same thing with my Damian Lillard card. I bought that really low. I sold it right at the top. I sold it for $1,300 US, and now they're back down to around about $700 US now that Damian Lillard's been knocked out. That hype. And it's just, once again, you need to be smarter as a buyer and smarter as a seller. Like I was really smart on that occasion as a seller. I've also done some dumb things in the last 2 weeks as a seller where I didn't sell some more of my basketball stuff. And now the basketball market's actually trajectorying down. Even guys who are still in the playoffs like LeBron, LeBron and AD and that, even their cards started to go down. And that was just because their cards were built up to a point where you were paying amounts for guys, like paying for AD.
Sure, people can't afford amount
it. You were paying for legends who have won multiple championships.
Exactly.
And I think people are starting to realize.
But it works out as well. Like, they're realizing it's too expensive, and the seller's like, all right, I've got to discount the price that I've put it up on eBay for. And then bang, and then eventually
the demand at that price was just not there. And that's what it comes down to. The demand at that price was just not there. I think maybe potentially some of these prices were inflated, obviously, because of shady business, what goes on a certain marketplace, which, allows people to ask.
We can discuss that. Just a bit of an insight as well. for the two of us. I think that's something we can discuss a bit further down the track, because it looks like we may be able to secure some special guests, and if we can get one of those special guests involved, he's had a bit of an experience with that shady activity, multiple, and it'd be actually really good to discuss, as he is very keen to get into, as we mentioned last week, getting into the hobby 101, what to look at, different types of things, and his experiences, as he's been in it a lot longer and experienced a lot of that shady stuff that has happened to him. So we'll try and lock that down. It might be a special pod, but it's something that we've got in the works, and we'll keep dialogue open with that individual, and it'd be something good for everyone that's into the sports cards, and it'd be really good just to get his perspective as well. And then we got another company, Australian, that is also keen to jump on board and have a chat. So we might get that in the works too, and get their perspective on the Australian market with basketball and especially football cards.
Well, we want to talk about football,
it's just going nuts.
Massive. This is massive. The fact that it's sold out, Dom. In 3 minutes, like that's a. Even Select themselves were amazed. They couldn't believe
it was like 6,231 boxes. I think.
Yeah, sold out,
and it's sold out in 3 minutes. Now I can go.
It's really good.
Honestly, how it used to be here, if you're not listening from Australia, how it used to be is you used to have the best Select. Well, Select Champions was their best product, and then they started releasing some higher grade stuff, limited stuff. But Select Champions was their better base with insert cards, not autos, just insert cards. Mate, I could find them a season later in my news agency.
Yeah.
Still boxes half full, not sold. I understand this one's more reasonable, and you get on-card autos. And this is where Select, I really do applaud them as a company for what they've done. They started to put insert cards that are numbered like basketball cards.
Yeah, that's good.
Their autos are numbered. They've got like other insert cards like high flyers. I saw high flyers get pulled in the Cherry Collectibles break of Wayne Carey. The card looked amazing, and it's numbered.
Yeah, their card designs are really good. And I'll give it to them. And they're getting some really, really iconic stuff. They had those high flyers with Warwick Kappa, and if anyone doesn't know, Warwick Kappa is like one of the took some of the best marks of all time ever in the history of AFL. Yeah, perfect for that card. Like they're doing it really well. Yeah, they're doing some really, really good stuff. I'm excited for Select. I'm happy for the AFL card collecting community in Australia that it's actually growing. And it's good. It's good. I think this is what the hobby needed in terms of AFL collecting. That the demand for that product. I hope now that Select can see that demand, not increase their print runs on their current products, but maybe have 1 or 2 more releases next year, where it gives more opportunity to people to buy some boxes. And potentially maybe do a release where it's fancy insert cards and numbered cards, numbered to 25, numbered to 10, numbered to 5.
They've got this perfect opportunity.
99.
They've got this perfect opportunity now where you can literally go probably 2 low-grade products, probably 2 mid-tier, 2 high-end, but then have 6 products, and then your 7th and 8th, if you want to release 2 of them, release it like a flawless football or immaculate football, like Panini product, how they've got it. That exclusivity, 10 cards per box, you pay
get some patch RPAs
rip it open,
in there.
you open it, you get, exactly. You get you get a patch auto Matthew Lloyd, for example, from Essendon, or patch auto Wayne Carey or Gary Ablett Sr.
Yeah.
Like that would take Select to the next level.
Yeah, it would. It would, and I think there's an opportunity for them, as I said, to do.
It's massive.
And I've said this, I like it that they don't do sticker autos, but I think this now is potentially next year for them to get on the sticker autos and put this in one of the more lower sets and bring out something where it's like, they're bringing out like blaster boxes where you've got 4 to 6 packs in a box. Then you've got like your single packs that you can buy. Then you've got a range of products, but you put all the sticker autos in that retail product. If you get what I'm
You can
saying.
do
So
it's so
it's not like
yeah.
a hobby product, but it's a retail
Okay.
product, but you put no sticker autos in it. So it still makes it affordable for the younger generation to get their hand on some cards. And
Exactly.
you can
And
stack it with sticker autos, man. Like
yeah,
you can get at a the media days, you can get them to sign like 100 sticker autos. You get what I'm saying? So like, and then
it's so
you put that
easy.
all in that product, and you keep all the on
Exactly.
card for the higher range products.
Well,
So
Select, if you're hearing it, this is how we've done your business model for the next year. Your two low ends. One is just an all base set.
yeah,
The other one is an all base set with a parallel set, like hollow.
yeah,
Then your mid-tier ones are inserts numbered and autos that are stickers numbered. Your high end is on-card numbered autos and like inserts low numbered is your high end, and then your top end is on card legend autos, and you can do your patches, your
yeah. But
jerseys,
even
whatever you want to do.
your current players, your captain's
Yeah,
ones, all
your
that
current
sort of.
players. That what I'm saying is that high end, you can actually get legends in there,
Yeah, you'd get legends in there.
along with current players. That's perfect. Like you've got 8 products. It's not a saturation. There's something for everyone. There's people that like to collect sets down below. There's people that are in the middle tier. There's people that like to collect high-end stuff, auto memorabilia type cards, and you're happy. Happy days, man. Happy days.
Sounds good.
That's
I
awesome.
like it. I really do like it. I think
But
that's the
it's
next step.
awesome for the.
It's the next
But
step for Select.
it's a community that's just so big within the country, and like it's recognized within their circles, and people that are in the hobby in Australia. But people don't really know footy cards. They're like, oh yeah, because they go to the newsagent and they see footy stars
Yeah,
for $3 a packet,
yeah, they
and they
don't
go,
really
oh,
know.
those are football cards. They don't really know
They don't know the extent of the
what it
other
is, the hobby.
quality of football
We
cards
know,
that
we
there are.
appreciate it. We appreciate because we know that people out there, they've been collecting since day dot. Like, and we've seen collections at card shows and stuff within Australia, just ridiculous stuff. But that's it, mate. It's getting big. Anyway, that's our hobby talk. Like we said, we'll try and tee up some special stuff going throughout the next couple of weeks. But next up, most anticipated segment of the show to end it, we've got Sauceys Smokey. All right, we're back.
We're back. We
Segment
are
of the
back.
show.
And to end up the
Sauceys
show
Smokey.
with the people's segment, like as I like to call it,
The people segment.
the people segment, because
Hey.
the people love this one.
Another good one this week. Exciting stuff. I was actually very surprised this card when you sent it to me, and you said you got your hands on one. I was very, very happy for you. It was a great get. Still very, very gettable out there, and probably something you want to make a move on now before.
Yeah, gettable, and I will say it has moved up a little bit from the price point which I was able to pick one up at. So it's always positive. It's always positive signs when I bought this card 2 weeks ago, and now within the last 2 weeks it's already up sort of 20%, which is good stuff. So I'll just go through as I like to do, and I do this point. I do this part when I'm buying a vintage guy because I just like to drill it into you what it is that this person has done, right? And why I just can't see why his cards that price. So let me just say, ladies and gents, this bloke, he made it to the Pro Bowl a lazy 10 times, 6 times first team All Pro, 4 times second team All Pro, NFL Most Valuable Player, 2-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year, 2-time Burt Bell Award, 4-time NFL Rushing Yards Leader, NFL Rushing Touchdown Leader 1 year, NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, NFL 1990s Team of the Decade, NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time Team. He's won a Heisman Trophy. What else has he won?
What's going on here?
He's won a heap of stuff, ladies and gents. I
He's
think
won too much. I'm just getting the card up, but I'm seeing some of these prizes that it's gone for at the moment. I'm just like, this has to be incorrect.
he's won Super Bowls. Did I not read that off? Surely he has.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
Why doesn't it have it here?
That's because it's.
I'm pretty sure he's won 3 Super Bowls, ladies and gents. I'll just stand to be corrected. Let me just confirm that.
Shit, yeah, this card's going up, big fella. Here we go. He's a PSA 9.
I need to find this out. But I believe he's won 3 Super Bowls already.
I'll check that out. You keep going. I'll check that out for you.
Ladies and gents, I'm not talking anyone other than what some people say to be the best running back to ever walk the planet to come out of the NFL. So we're talking about NFL here. And I'm talking about none other than the absolute legend that played for the Detroit Lions, Barry Sanders. The man was an absolute unit.
Never won a Super Bowl.
Never won a Super Bowl. All right. Sorry.
But he won an MVP.
He won MVP. He won an MVP as a running back. I think the last guy to do that was Adrian Peterson. Other than that, it's been literally dominated by
he's a legend, mate. This
QBs.
guy's a legend.
But this guy's a legend. Like, if you just have to go look at what he's accomplished in his career and some of the records he had.
I got the card. Oh, you'll chuck it up on the graphic, but I got the card.
I'll
anyway.
put it up on the graphic, but we'll chuck it up here so that the people can see it, ladies and gents. And that's the one. It's a 1989 score Barry Sanders rookie card. The bloke was an absolute jet, revered by many, and you mentioned to anyone that knows NFL and talk about and watched it for a while and talk about Barry Sanders, and they all just say the man was an absolute beast. He would be surrounded by 3-4 players, and all of a sudden he's run out of the middle of them and he's heading towards the end zone for a touchdown. The guy had some of the best elusive skills you'll ever see. Just looking up his highlights on YouTube, you will know what I'm talking about. Just type in Barry Sanders highlights, and that makes for some great.
This card at the moment is up for some very nice prices.
Yeah, so the card we're talking about is the 1989 score rookie card.
Same set as the Aikman from last week.
Same set as the Aikman. Same set that I talked about. I'm really liking this the NFL at the moment, and I think similar to what I was harping on about with the NBA and basketball, where some of the vintage guys are underappreciated and should be selling for more. I think this is a similar case. When you think of what this guy's done and achieved, I think he should be more. When you've got guys who are just in their second season now, essentially selling for the same price as him, even though they might be of a different position, but the fact that they even is selling somewhere near this guy who's won an MVP award,
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So, go on.
I'll tell you what, Sauce has been saying it for 8 weeks now.
Yeah.
And now, over the last probably 3 weeks, everyone else, every time Sauce is commenting on stuff on socials, like proper breakers, collectors, they're all like, oh yeah, you make a good point. So now these people are starting to get into the vintage. That's why they're.
I've been telling people because
he's been telling them.
I've been saying I've been yelling it from the bleachers. I've been saying just buy the vintage, do the research, and all you got to do is just compare some of these vintage guys because their career is set. What they've done is complete, and compare them with the modern day guys and be like, well, this guy's in his second year, this guy's in his third year, and he's selling for the same as this guy who's had 12 years in the league and won an MVP and was 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time, all offensive team. Like, even though this guy's in his third year, he's got so much potential. One injury and his whole career could be over. So you don't know what's going to happen. So the fact that these guys can be so underappreciated is just ridiculous. And what's actually happening, which I'm going to look up a card here. First of all, I'll mention the card I'm talking about is I bought a PSA 9. So PSA 9, the population report on PSA 9 is 7,500. Meaning there's 7,500 PSA 9s. Barry Sanders. So my suggestion would be if you don't have enough funds to buy the PSA 10, because the PSA 10 currently is it's a bit. But Domma, like I said, if you've got the money and to buy a Barry Sanders PSA 10, which is now the last one sold for 1,055 USD, it's really not that much, because when you have a look 3 months ago, this is what I say, Domma. When you have a look 3 months ago, and then have a look 3 months ago where some of the modern guys were sitting, like a Kyler Murray, or mainly Kyler Murray, because he's the one that's grown a bit. His card was sitting at 3,400. PSA base prison was sitting at 3,400 3 months ago. This Barry Sanders was sitting at 800, and it's only grown to the last sale of 1,055. So in that time, in 3 months, it's only gone up a rate of 26%. But one thing I will say, in the last two weeks, it's gone up 23%. So it's on the rise recently. This is a good indication that potentially there's going to be a point where this card takes a massive rise and goes up to that level where it's rising the same level that the Kyler Murray has risen, where the Kyler Murray in the last 3 months has risen 176%, right?
100%. Yeah.
And is nearly selling for essentially the same price as the Barry Sanders. It's about $100 less, $100, $150 less. Now, if you look at that, it can't be right, because Kyler Murray's only in his second year, and he's going for that much. Right. And it's not like Kyler Murray's going to come out and win the Super Bowl this year. There's no chance of that happening.
No chance.
Maybe if he comes out and wins the Super Bowl this year, well, hell, his card prices should be that much. But the fact of the matter is, he ain't winning shit. His team's barely winning 7 games this year. The fact that his card prices have gone up 176% and Barry Sanders have only gone up 26 for the PSA 10 is a joke. But the card I bought was a PSA 9. I was able to get one for 105 US. They're now the most recent two sold, both sold for 152. So it's already up.
There's a couple up there now for 170 to 190 US.
Yeah. So and the ones now that I've been seeing getting listed on eBay are getting listed a bit more. So I can see this card going up. I mean, from 3 months ago, it's actually sort of down. But 3 months ago, it's only gone up 17% since 3 months ago, the rate of growth. But in the last 2 weeks, it's gone up 72%, ladies and gents. So if that ain't an indication that this card is on the rise, then I don't know what is, because the proof is in the data, and the data is showing me that this card's gone up 72% in 2 weeks.
That's it.
So I think there's more room for this card to grow. PSA 9, yeah, it's a little bit, on the more expensive side, where you're potentially spending somewhere between. I still think you should be able to get one somewhere between 120 to 150 in that range. I'm going to give a sort of a broad number. I'm not going to set on a number because it's impossible. Maybe the more range maybe 125 to 140. Maybe try to get one in that range. You might be able to get one on bids. You might be able to pick up one for an offer and offer someone that. You don't know. There might be someone out there who's bought this card years ago for like a couple bucks, 10, 15 bucks. They're happy to sell it for 130. But in today's market, where I think this card is on the way up, and I think at some point when the vintage boom hits in NFL, like what's sort of happening in NBA, and the vintage guys go up, it's game over. It's already happening. Jerry Rice is on the way up. He's one of the cards vintage guys that's really risen. I think there's more to come, and when that's the case,
Troy Aikman, hopefully
happy, because we'll have the vintage guys sitting in our collection.
That's it.
That's the aim of the game, ladies and gents. Buy
Smokey.
low, sell high, reinvest into guys that you like.
Sauceys Smokey, mate.
Sauceys Smokey, ladies and gents.
All right. Bang. That's a big one. He's blown the smoke.
He smoked it out.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
For all the audio listeners out there,
He just blew some
I
smoke
just
into the
blew some smoke
screen.
from my vape pen into the screen and
Oh,
smoked it out.
no.
I've been waiting to
Oh.
do that one. I've waited till pod number 8, week 8, to pull it out. I wanted to pull it out from the start, but I thought I'll hold it in there and pull it out at a prime time.
Wow. Anyway, bang, he's gone back. Jeez, that's thrown me, huh? Well, that's Sauceys Smokey. That's another show done. One thing we didn't touch on, Sauce, was old my mate, old Novak, with the ball hitting.
Oh, yeah, we should have spoken about that.
Old Lamone there, the lemon.
Oh, talk about a brain fade. Talk
He's a
about a
lemon.
brain fade. Regardless whether people think he should have been disqualified or not, it's just stupidity. Like, just put the ball out of your pocket, throw it on the ground. There's no reason to whack that ball away. If there's a crowd there, do you reckon he racks it away like that, where potentially he could go into the crowd and hit someone?
In my opinion, like, he's got no leg to stand on, because I've never seen a tennis player just smack it that high into the fence. They always just dribble it along the ground if they don't want the ball when they hit it back to the ball boy. You know
Maybe
what I mean?
he was aiming for it because she made a questionable ball.
But rumor is he's had a few run-ins with that exact same lines person before.
So, really?
Yeah, apparently. But the greatest thing to come
you
out
see
of
that many lines persons. How can you even remember who the hell it is?
Oh, the greatest thing that could have come out of that was not the fact that he got disqualified. I don't care about that. It was my boy, Nick Kyrgios, on Twitter.
Giving it to him. I've seen that.
Oh, I loved it. That made my day. That made my day.
That's elite.
Yeah.
That's
and
elite.
Nick, I'm going to answer your poll here live. You would have got 10-year ban, I reckon, if you did that. 10 years.
Yeah, he would have.
Done.
No doubt.
Cooked. Anyway,
no doubt.
That's another show done.
It's been a massive one, Domma. We've 2.5 hours, but we had a lot to talk about. Obviously, the NFL. NFL took up a hell of a lot of time, but it's been a good show once again. And we're going to be back next week covering NFL and EPL.
And EPL. Jeez.
The run into finals. Maybe we'll have to have a look a bit more over the AFL and see where we see the teams ending up, top 4, top 8. Because there's a bit of close competition going on there at the moment, where a few teams could slip in and slip out of those spots.
Mate, there's a lot to cover.
There is.
It's been another show. Keep living, loving, and breathing sport. This has been double coverage. I'm Dom with your boy Saucy.
Peace out, ladies and gents.
You're not going to vape again, are you?
We're closing it out on that note.
Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcasting app. Also, if you could please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that would be awesome. Don't forget to follow us on socials at DBLcoverage_ on both Instagram and Twitter to join in with your opinions.